All right, then. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Kingdom of the Kael Isles. For those of you that can't read all of the crazy stuff that I've put on here, this is a custom D&D campaign that I wrote a while ago and was never able to finish. And the people you see below you, or below me, on the screen in the boxes, they are actually going to be entertaining us and enjoying us as we go through this magical water-based kingdom. So you'll notice that I have a lot of player 1, player 2, player 3. That's because I forgot to put their character names in before I went live, so I'm going to be doing that while they introduce themselves. So we will start with the one in the lower corner, that is Ashley. If you would like to introduce yourself and your character name.
Well, generally around the internet, I'm known as Calendor, and my character, his name's Elaine. He's a rogue, not so much on the stabby side at the moment, but that's just about all I want to say at the moment.
Okay, and that's ALAIN?
Yep.
Excellent. I didn't do it wrong. Next is going to be the first person other than me wearing the Mercer and Keelet, and we came with our critter shirts, guys. Go ahead, David.
Hi everybody. My name's David. Really don't have an internet handle to work with. I'll have to deal with that later on. But I play Avok Noford, and he is a barbarian with some impulse control problems.
And Avok is AVOK?
Yes, it is.
All right. They all were like really awesome and gave me these great character backstories with character names that are on my computer somewhere, but not in front of me, which is why I keep asking them how to spell their character names. Luckily enough, I won't have to do this the next time. So, next up is our player 3, James, and I'm hitting the wrong
Hello,
button.
everybody. James, and my character is Hasselhoff. Not Hassel, sorry. Totally thinking about another halfling. Punchinello. Punchinello is mine, and I am a halfling barbarian with a pretty positive attitude on life, and maybe taking it.
I do like the fact that I somehow got both the barbarians next to each other on the just complete. Next up is going to be Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe. The character I'm playing is Phaeton des Sequar, a Eldritch
Can you just spell that first name for me?
Pha, long A thing on there,
Yeah.
Ton.
So I don't have access to cool stuff like that, so you're just going to be Phaeton without the little Cathedral.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Anything else you want to say about Phaeton?
Well, I just did. It's like his Eldron mage, and well, he's ran into some tough times recently. So that's to be it for right now.
Mike?
Yes, I am Mike. My character's name is Fade Moonbreeze, spelled F-Y, apostrophe, E-D. He's an Eldrin cleric, and he's awesome.
And then our final player, Mal.
Hello, everybody. Name's Matthew, but on the internet, most people know me as Malamens. I will be playing McKellen Longshot, human, son of a whore. No, really, son of a. He was born in a brothel. Has a very good skill. Incredibly good with arrows and firing arrows into the sails of other ships from about 500-600 feet away. So.
And what was the? Can you spell the first name for me?
MAKELLAN.
Okay, so now everybody knows who they are. Isn't that fun? All right, so I can stop editing now. So, to give you guys just a little bit of a background on the kingdom of the Kael Isles. This is a water-based kingdom. There is one very large island called Kael Isle, in which the capital city of this kingdom, which is just colloquially referred to as the Platinum City, sits at the very northern tip of it. The rest of the kingdom is various sized islands, some bigger, some smaller, and it is ruled by an Eladrin magocracy that rules with a rather iron fist. The various characters have all been contacted by a gentleman who is an Eladrin, a high-ranking Eladrin, very secretive official, and he's contacted all of them and asked them to come to the Platinum City and meet with his master, who is an even higher-ranking Eladrin official. So the story is actually going to start today with three of you are actually not from the Platinum City originally. That's Avok, Puncello, and McKellen. You guys have all been given a summons, and you were given a little trinket. So you actually all arrived at the Platinum City around the same time, within, 30, 40 minutes of each other, which normally would be incredibly coincidental, but this is D&D, and so that's how we're going to do it. Puncello has never been to the Platinum City before. McKellen and Avok, I actually can't remember. Have either of you guys actually been to the Platinum City before, or would this be a new experience for everyone?
No, I've never
Nope.
never sat with the Eldrin until the last time.
All right. So, you guys all have been traveling for a fairly significant amount of time. That's my phone that I'm just going to turn off for a second, or at least mute. That means people like me. It doesn't happen often.
That's $5 in the rap party, Joy.
So, you guys have been traveling varying distances. Puncello was actually the closest person, in as much as he was actually able to walk most of the distance here. McKellen and Avok both had to take some water transportation to get here. But you've all arrived around the same time. As you approach the Platinum City, you notice that it is an insanely massive, massive city, and it shines. Every surface in the entire city shines this platinum metallic sheen. You don't really understand how that works because you've never seen that much platinum anywhere in one place, but it just seems that the entire city shines like platinum. So as you guys approach the gate, you notice a couple guards in front of this fairly large gate. Goes up about 20, 25 feet in height, and is about 10 to 15 feet wide. And you can see towards the top, there's a fairly thick portcullis that seems very well oiled and in very good working order, that could close very quickly if, in the case that something happened that the guards were not particularly fond of. So again, you see these two guards. They are wearing what looks like just kind of chainmail, nothing incredibly fancy, but obviously enough that they're fairly well protected. Each one you can see on their hip has a club, a rather ornate looking club. just kind of sitting there, and they're kind of watching the people that come through. No one goes through the gate without them speaking to them in some fashion, whether it's just a quick nod for any of the Eladrin that are coming in and out. Any non-Eladrin get stopped and interrogated almost. Some of them are actually searched a little bit. Some of them are just turned away immediately. So you guys are coming from different directions, but are all arriving roughly around the same time. What would you guys like to do?
Well, let's see. This is what I think I will do. I'm just gonna walk right up there and just, if they stop me, whatever, I have this little trinket that I can show them that's, I will assume is like a pass into this place.
Okay, so you walk up rather proud. Your weapon is what? Is it a greatsword that you use?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got your greatsword on your back. You're just kind of walking in, kind of proud. You know, you're a tough guy. You've got that brand on your arm that shows that at one point you had belonged to a company that served the Eladrin. So as you're coming in, you're kind of the mark is flashing itself a little bit, and as you start to walk through, you get stopped pretty quickly before you could even get to the gate proper. One of the gentlemen with clubs comes up, actually draws the club out and just kind of pokes it right in your chest, and turns to you and says, "And exactly what do you think you are doing?"
I'm going in. Is that a problem?
What business gives you the right to enter the Platinum City?
Okay, listen here. I have this thing. I take out the thing and show him.
And as soon as you do that, you notice the mannerisms change drastically. He goes from this very much pompous, arrogant, just kind of poking you in the chest. As soon as he sees that little stone, he steps back a little bit. His buddy that's, interrogating someone else stops what he's doing and immediately comes over, kind of perplexed by this little trinket that you're holding. And they both just, they glance at each other, and then they glance back at you. They step back a little bit and kind of have a very quick conversation, very, very low, to the point that you can't really pick out any of the words they're saying. And then they kind of move back and go, I guess we shall allow you to enter the city. Is there any directions you may need or aid that you may require in order to complete your duty?
Well, either way, I was going to get in. But now that you are being a little noisy about it, could you direct me to what am I going to go to? And it's like a teleportation place.
Oh, you must be referring to one of the teleportation zones in the lower city. And he gives you directions that sound very believable. And they kind of step aside and let you kind of go in. You notice that as you were kind of speaking down to them, they were kind of biting back words. Like you could tell, beyond a shadow of a doubt, as soon as you started kind of talking down, they were not particularly thrilled with it. But it seems that that little trinket has some sort of value to these guys. So they kind of bite their tongues hard enough to taste blood and kind of step back and get back to whatever it was they're doing. So, Puncello, McKellen, you guys have just witnessed this barbarian just walking up, and Puncello, you don't see anything completely bizarre about the interaction because you've had so few interactions with the Eladrin. McKellen, though, you know how Eladrin are to non-Eladrin, and you found that a very interesting interaction. It seemed very, very out of place.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually try to catch one of the guards. Try to catch their eye, kind of like
Not very difficult at all. Again, they've kind of gotten to the point where they're purposefully ignoring him just
Okay.
out of the idea that they don't want to have to deal with him anymore, but they're not allowed to do anything to him. So they
Okay.
immediately see you coming and another human coming up. It's not an incredibly odd thing for humans to come and go, but for two to come at the exact same time when there was an issue with one of them, they see you immediately and like, yes.
I just palming the token in my hand. I just sort of flip it over and show them. It's like, I received a summons.
And again, they look at each other even wider-eyed, because the likelihood of two of these things showing up at the same time is really weird, you assume. And they look at each other and like, do you require directions to wherever it is you need to go?
I would
And
love to know.
cannot seem to say anything beyond that.
I just sort of look at this like, I'm not even entirely sure where I'm supposed to go. I was just given this, told to show up.
Well, I would assume that gentleman, they point to Abok. They said that gentleman seemed to have a purpose. Follow him. And they just seemed very flabbergasted by the whole situation.
Okay. I look at him and I was like, all right, thank you. And I'm just going to shadow Havoc for a little bit.
All right. Punchinello?
I'm just gonna casually saunter up to the guards and, good day, how are you?
You notice that once they start dealing with people that aren't flashing these stones, the mannerism change. He almost relaxes, and then you see him get stern again. And he's like, did I give you permission to speak to me, halfling?
Right, I have one of these stones also. Maybe you could let me through?
And again, another, and they, at this point, he just seems completely flabbergasted and just kind of points in their general direction, going, and then his other guard comes in. He's like, sir, do you require any assistance to get to your location, or do you know where it is that you are going?
Something called a teleporter?
Yes, follow the other two people that have decided to come. And again, he's stumbling over his words as well. You guys assume that there will be a very interesting water cooler conversation involving this later on.
Yeah.
So, anything else you guys do before you step into the city?
I'm just gonna go catch up with them because they're going in the same direction.
So,
Yeah,
Avok, as you're going in, you noticed, due to just the fact that you're in a different kind of bizarre place, and you're always kind of on edge from your training. You noticed that one of the guards kind of pointed at you, and now there's another human with a fairly significant bow strapped to his back, coming directly to you, and then you see a smaller form just very quickly, kind of jauntily, moving along, coming towards you as well. As you guys get through the gate itself, you notice the gate is not only massive in height, it's actually a fairly thick gate. It's about 15 feet thick, and you can see every 5 feet there's another portcullis. So obviously this was designed to be very defensible. As you go through, you can actually see higher up in this archway, there are narrow slits that you assume are basically murder holes for archers in case anyone was to attempt to go through here. So you're kind of mildly impressed with just specifically how defensible this area is. And then as you enter through the gate, you notice that the scenery itself is vastly different from the outside. From the outside, again, it had this very regal, metallic, platinum look to it. As you get in, you notice that the wall itself continues all the way around this outer portion of the city. But you notice that the buildings and things in this portion of the city do not look anywhere near as fine in certain places. You notice the ones along this main route still look to be made of platinum, still look very, very nice. But as you're going in, you can notice like little hovels off the main streets that are built of wood. You can see people running around. You can see, for the most part, other than this main walkway that kind of leads through this portion of the city, this does not look to be one of the nicer areas of town. So what would you guys like to do? You now have kind of formed a little group on the inside of this walled city.
Before I go any further, who are you two? I have my hand on my hilt. Like, start speaking, guys.
I size him up, even though I'm kind of like 3 foot tall. Yeah.
Which is impressive, sizing up someone when you're half their size.
Yeah. And let's go. I'm heading toward the teleporter. Where are you going?
Also going there as well.
Well, let's go together. And I'm very chipper.
I think the little guy has it right there.
So, as you guys kind of finish your introductions, you continue walking down, and you realize that this road connects directly from this gate to a very large second gate. And as you approach it, you notice that there is another walled portion of the city. But to get to it, you notice you actually have to ascend a fairly large amount of stairs, so that this portion of the city is probably about 100 feet higher than this outer city that you guys were traveling through. As you get to the second gate, you notice again the wall itself is immaculate. It looks incredibly clean, and you notice that the guards standing at this specific entrance aren't actually letting anyone through that's not an Eladrin or a high elf. They're just turning anyone away that doesn't. And instead of wielding just elaborate clubs, these ones have maces that are fairly hefty. You can see that both of them have silver inlaid into their hilts. And you guys know from just common knowledge of the world that the mace itself is the weapons themselves are a sign of rank, and a silver mace is a fairly high member of law enforcement. Not super high, but it's much higher than the people you've dealt with thus far. So, what would you guys like to do?
I'll turn to the other two and just sort of put up my hand as like, I think I got this one. And start ascending the stairs, walking towards the guards.
As you approach, you notice that in the bustle of people going in and out, you see a smaller figure that looks fairly youngish and is dressed in very low quality clothing in general. You can see that she appears to be wearing, or he appears to be wearing leather armor and things like that, but sticks out like a sore thumb as he approaches this area. And as soon as he gets close, you notice that one of the guards, you're not quite close enough to hear yet, but one of the guards draws their mace and actually kind of takes a half-hearted swing towards the youth that's coming close. Elaine, you have gotten to the point where you need to enter to get to where it is that you're going, and as you approach, what I just described just happened to you. And as he kind of swings at it, he's like, "Get out of here! Your kind isn't allowed in the lower city."
Jeez. I just kind of, step back a little bit and just lift up the item that was given to me and just show it to him.
And again, he's taken aback a little bit, kind of glances at his fellow guard there, and You notice that they both spit at the same time in your general direction. They go, "Fine, go wherever the hell it is you need to go. Just get out of my sight."
Just with a nod, just kind of push past them and go in.
As soon as you make contact with them, you notice that they jostle you on your way in. Not enough to do any damage, but kind of to still show you that they're in control. So you guys noticed this interaction. McKellen was actually able to get close enough that you heard the very end of that interaction, where he's yelling at the what looks like a half elf. Now that you've gotten closer.
Yeah, I'm not happy about witnessing that.
So you decide to do.
Stand up a little bit straighter, drop my shoulders a little bit, so they're a little bit loose and relaxed, and it is a determined walk, and I'm making sure I'm going to pick whichever one that actually took a little swipe at him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make sure him and I are making eye contact as I'm walking up towards him.
And he doesn't react quite as violently to you, but he still goes, "What business has you climbing the platinum stairs?"
We just hold the coin out without saying a word and try to walk right past him.
And again, he kind of hesitates. You notice that he already has his mace out, and just because he hasn't moved it yet, you actually kind of run into it, not with any force or anything, but you run into where it's holding, and then he allows you to kind of press it back with your body as you push past. And as you go a little bit past her, he goes, "Do you need any assistance finding your location?" Again, biting back words.
Not a single word.
And you just blow past.
I blow right past him, and I actually quicken my pace to get up behind Elaine, who... what race is he?
Half elf.
Half elf? How tall are you?
Ooh, I didn't.
Generally, half elves are in the 5 to 6 foot range.
Yeah. 5'7", 5'8".
Okay. I'm slightly taller than you, but I'm just going to blow right past him and make sure I put my arm around Elaine's shoulder. It's like, don't worry about it. It's all, it'll be fine.
Just gonna...
You've just had a stranger put his arm around you. How do you feel about that?
He's gonna instantly stiffen up and just glare at you.
I've got my arm around your shoulder, and my hand is kind of hanging loose. It's also the hand that's palming the stone, and I kind of flip it over a little bit, just make sure you see it.
What do you want?
Oh, it's like, I don't know where I'm going, man. You seem to know what you're doing.
See, I guess, seeing as you have that stone, you must be heading to the teleporter?
I believe that's where I'm going. There's another rude guy and a halfling behind us.
While this is happening, Avok and Punchinello, you guys kind of observe that as he just kind of blows past. You notice that the other guard kind of looks to the one that McKellen blew past, and she gives him this kind of worried stare, and she instantly takes out her mace and just kind of starts fidgeting with it as she's waiting for more people, and she's scanning the stairs themselves to see if anyone else is coming. She's seen you guys, but since you haven't moved forward, she's kind of just waiting there and looking to see if anyone else is coming. Seems a little bit kind of awkward about the whole situation. What would you two like to do?
Well, I'm just gonna walk right up to them and be like, "I'm coming through."
And again, as soon as you start doing that, you get 2 maces to your chest that they kind of look at you. One of them actually shoves you back a little bit and actually rears back to strike a blow as you, because obviously you're not really deterred that much by things poking you in the chest. So you step back a little bit and start moving again, and he swings to strike at you. So what would you like to do?
I want to like grab the striking arm.
All
As
right.
in, like, yeah, as it comes down, I just want to like be like,
Oh, and kind of
like,
catch it.
catch it and pretty much go. I will do that.
All right. Go ahead and make me a strength athletics check to get
Oh,
us
he's
rolling
lucky I'm
here.
not raging. 18.
18. You sit there and you notice that this mace is coming down. You can actually see as it gets closer. You can actually feel a little bit of magic radiating from it. And as it comes down, you just reach your hand up because it wasn't an incredibly hard blow. But you reach your hand up and you actually kind of grab it, the head of the mace in your hand, and it hurts significantly, a lot more than you thought it would from just a regular old mace, because this is something that you've probably done before. It's a nice parlor trick. And as kind of the reverberations of this mace kind of work your way through your arm, you take 1 point of damage just from the sheer force of the blow and the fact that you're stopping it with a rather fleshy portion of your body. And as soon as you do that, it was actually the female guard that had taken the swing at you. And as soon as you do that, the male one readies. You notice that he actually pulls a shield off his back and gets ready to attack you and goes, "State your business, human!" And he spits that last word.
Well, this is my business, Eladrin.
And again, as soon as that happens, they both stiffen up. The woman is just glaring at you, and she hasn't moved the mace yet because you haven't let it go yet, and she very roughly just pulls it out of your grip, and then slowly kind of turns enough for you to be able to see that there's a path, and the other Eladrin guard is standing there, and he lowers the shield a little bit and steps back, so there's just barely enough room for you to pass between them. And the female guard says, "Go. You are given entrance to the lower city."
I had entrance either way.
And again, you can see, like, you can almost see blood trailing as they bite their tongues. And then the one with the shield out kind of turns towards Punchinello and just kind of screams, "Are you with this lot too?"
And I hold out my stone.
And
I kinda
at this point, they're no
I keep
longer
doing this
surprised. They're
back
more
and forth as I walk up.
They're more
And then
exasperated at this point, and you just
Yeah.
like, fine. And they don't even have to move for you. You just kind of walk through.
Yeah.
Damn halflings.
And I kind of duck under one of the maces and like, watch where you put that thing. And like, keep walking.
So you guys are wandering through. You've caught up with McKellen and Elaine, and as you're going, Elaine, you're just kind of following the road and everything, and kind of very intently focused on the destination. You've been to this part of the city before. It wasn't the most enjoyable experience of your life, so you know that standing around and not looking like you have a purpose here is a great way to get into trouble. And as you're walking, go ahead and Elaine and McKellen roll me perception checks.
Seven.
Elaine got
13.
7, and McKellen got a 13. Okay. Elaine, again, you are very, very focused on your destination and are doing kind of one of these, you stare at the ground, you kind of look up to see where it is you're going, and then as you move, your gaze naturally travels back down towards your feet, and then every so often you'll kind of readjust yourself. McKellen, since you're walking kind of, arm in arm with him, You notice in front of you, basically in the direct path you're looking to take, there's a group of three maces that are just standing there, obviously seeing that you're there, and they just block off almost the entire uh, entryway, waiting for you guys to just come up. And as you guys approach, one of them just kind of glares at Elaine and doesn't move at all, just sitting there glaring with crossed arms. The other two have hands on their maces.
All right, I'm gonna quicken my step a little bit, just so I'm just walking a step or two ahead of Elaine. I hold up the stone and said, "Look alive, gentlemen, and make a hole, please." Elaine, get your. Or I turned around and was like, "You might want to get your stone out."
As you do that, you notice that the guards themselves aren't actually focusing on you at all. And as soon as you bring your hand up without looking, make a dexterity saving throw for me.
15.
15. All right, so you notice that as you get close and you kind of bring it up, as soon as you get close enough for them to really be able to see what it is that you're holding, one of them takes the mace out and kind of swings it at your hand in attempt to just kind of knock whatever it is that you are attempting to attack them with out of your hand. You, as soon as you see that happening, you very quickly and deftly move it out of the way, go back to palming it so that you don't have to worry about it flying out of your hand. And you kind of do one of these, step back a little bit as the mace just kind of whiffs right past you. And you notice the one in the front looks at you and just glares and goes, "Human! Who told you you could speak to me?" And he draws, he goes from cross-arm to drawing his mace, and he points it right in your face. And he goes, "If you wish to keep your miserable excuse for life, you will drop down to your knees and await your punishment."
So the mace is in my face?
Yes.
Okay.
And your hand at this point is towards your side because of how quickly you had to move it. The momentum just naturally brought it towards your side.
Right.
As this is happening, you notice what you guys didn't notice is there was actually a few more of these people waiting in kind of side streets that have now started to surround your party. One of them has actually come up to Elaine and just kind of very roughly grabbed him by the shoulder and kind of the collar area, just this big kind of manhandle grip, and kind of rips him over and goes, "What are you doing here, half-blood?" And just kind of stares at him. You notice the other ones have actually already prepared for what looks like to be a fight.
Okay.
So again, McKellen, you have mace in your face, angry person in front of you.
You might want to look at my hand before you do anything else.
He actually does not seem to care, and as soon as you start speaking again, he reels back and just takes a swing right at your face. Which I dropped the die. There we go, and that's a fantastic. Oh, it's an 8. It's still not going to do a whole lot. That's a 13. 13 to hit.
No.
All right, so he comes back, and he takes a swing at you, and again, you just kind of duck under it. You notice as soon as that happens, all of the maces go from getting ready for a fight to actively being in a fight. They all draw their weapons. They all start moving towards you. The whole scene starts to seem a little bit bizarre. Phaeton and Fade, you guys were walking towards the teleporter that you have both used on multiple occasions. You're very used to it. And you both can see that there is something happening in front of you involving a group of aliens, basically. and the Eladrin maces that generally patrol the city. You both know that the one in front you have had to deal with before. He's kind of a dick, always has been. But you've seen situations like this play out before, and they generally tend to end badly for those involved. What you guys actually notice it right as the mace kind of gets pushed into McKellen's face. The strike hasn't happened yet. Is there anything that you guys do before this kind of erupts into a free-for-all?
I'm showing off my stone round.
You just have this up, you're like, yeah.
Confusedly, but just kind of like this has got me this far, so I'm gonna keep showing it.
Multi-pass.
Multi-pass.
Do I notice the stone?
You guys are actually at a point where they're kind of surrounded by these Eladrin who Eladrin themselves are generally just slightly taller than a human, and these are warrior types. They're kind of big, so they've actually obscured your view of what's happening there. The only thing you can really see, because he's ahead of the party, is some human with a bow on his back, with a mace in his face.
Well, I go to assist the Eldrin guard because I don't want him turning on me.
Okay. So do you?
Okay.
And then Phaeton?
I would just sort of walk right into the middle of this entire crowd, not really paying attention initially, but when I'll stop heading towards the portal, and I'll just stop just in front, look at the mace, and say, "What's going on here?"
And as he kind of looks at you, he turns back. And he said, "These filthy beasts have decided to break the law in my presence." And I've decided, and as you have that interaction, that's when he swings back to take the swing, and McKellen kind of dodges out of the way. And then you instantly feel the energy in the air shift from kind of that tension before something big is about to happen to just this massive explosion of kinetic energy where everyone is drawing weapons. You can see a few of them are starting to wind up attacks. And then, Phaeton, because you're so close, you feel kind of the hair on the back of your neck stand on end. And you instantly recognize the use of a face step. The rest of you guys are kind of standing there. You see everyone is getting ready for this massive fight. And then in the area next to the guard that's assaulting McKellen, you notice at one point there's nothing there. And then at the very next point, you see kind of this shimmer of the air, almost like there were waves of heat just kind of appearing out of nowhere. And then you notice that where there was nothing at one point, you can see a blade that is now pressed against across the neck of the mace. And as you kind of trace the blade back, you notice that it's actually being held by an Eladrin that you can see is actually fairly older than these ones. He's probably in his late 120s, 130s. And you can see in his hand is an incredibly ornate rapier that's resting across this guy's neck now. You can see the hilt itself is inlaid extensively with platinum all throughout it. And you notice that the guard himself changes demeanor rather quickly as soon as this blade gets rushed across his neck. The first thing he does is he kind of turns his head without moving his neck at all so he doesn't die. And as soon as he recognizes the blade, he turns pale white. It's almost instantaneous that you see the color drain from his face. And everyone else that was getting ready for a fight notices that happens, and you notice that they all instantly put their weapons away, stand at attention, and step back from the group. And as they're sitting there, you see this Eladrin that has just appeared there out of nowhere, holding the rapier very, very steadily, far steadier than you've seen someone do it before. Obviously, he's very skilled in the use of this weapon. And he kind of turns to it and he goes, "Mace, For what reason have you decided to delay my party? And again, really, really big eyes, completely white. He's like, Platinum Rapier, sir. It was these people were they were here and they didn't. I don't. And so he kind of cuts him off with just a wave of his hand, and he goes, "If you would like to continue breathing, I would expect you tell all of your guards to leave." And as he does, you can see just gets really, really big in the eyes. He's like, "Of course, everyone, just go away, go away. The Platinum Rapier has everything under control. Just go away." And he's breathing rather heavily now. You can see he's just sweating profusely. Is there anything that you guys are doing? Fade, you've kind of taken the hint that everyone else has and have stowed your weapon, kind of stood back. Anything else that you guys are doing?
I am still as a rock.
I'm still like just looking around with my greatsword drawn, just ready. Like, come on, I dare you, bastards!
It doesn't seem like the other guards are moving away yet.
Oh, they're gone already. Like as soon as he said something, they you could kind of tell from body language and how quickly they moved. As soon as the Platinum Rapier showed up, they were out of there. They were like, "I don't want to be here. Something really bad is about to happen. I'm leaving."
Then I would approach him respectfully with hands open and out, and ask him, "Are you our contact?"
And he kind of looks at you, and he, without really saying anything, he just kind of nods very slightly, and then kind of motions his head in the direction of the teleporter.
I instantly
Never
start walking
actually
back.
taking his eyes off of the mace. Anyone else want to do anything?
No, I'm going to continue on to the teleporter,
Okay.
bow to the rapier, say, "Thank you, my lord," and do a nice little wave in front of the mace and put a big old L on his forehead.
Again, you're almost certain that he tastes blood at this particular point in time.
That's fine.
The rest of you guys needing to do anything?
Just gonna stand up and straighten out his cloak and everything, kind of roll his shoulders and proceed to the teleporter.
Okay.
I point my greatsword at Mace and pretty much just go, "Yo, I could have taken all of you. Just saying." And I sheathe my greatsword and follow along.
Okay.
I'm still stand as a rock. I'm just going to simply say, may I go now?
And again, very similar to what happened with Phaeton, he kind of nods at you, never taking his eye off, and then he kind of motions towards the teleporter.
Okay. Then I will just simply take a step back and take a wide berth around the rapier and head to the portal. Or head to where everyone else is going.
Mm-hmm. Quintinella, you're the only one left.
I'm going to keep holding my stone up, and I'm going to walk past these two guys.
It's like a crucifix.
Yeah. Just
And you go.
and walk
As
towards
you
the
guys
teleporter.
get to the teleporter, you notice that eventually the blade comes down and very elegantly is sheathed. You notice that he kind of motions for the mace to kneel, and then as soon as he does, he brings around a gloved fist and just brings it across the mace's face, right around the temple, and you notice he just is laid out. The Platinum Rapier kind of points towards two other maces that hadn't quite been smart enough to get out of eyesight, and he just kind of pointed at them, pointed at the body, and he turned around to continue on with you guys. As he approaches, he turns to you all and says, "I apologize for my subordinate's rashness. They are not used to seeing your kind gracing our lower city. I unfortunately am not able to travel with you currently. I have other duties to perform, but I will join you momentarily. Please speak to the High Elf in there, and he will direct you towards my personal residence." And then with that, he kind of just swirls around and walks off.
Is this the same guy that approached me after in the alley?
No, very, very different.
Okay.
The gentleman that approached you before was actually a little bit smaller than this guy, and the voice was very, very different.
Okay.
So, the rest of you.
Portal up.
Going up.
All right, so you guys enter this building. You notice the building itself that you're going into. You guys can see that above you, the upper city is floating about 300 feet above the lower city. You can see in various places around the lower city are these buildings that have these bright beams of white light that go straight up and actually hit these crystals on the bottom of the upper city. And you can see the whole upper city just kind of sits in the air over the lower city, and even from the bottom you can tell it looks immaculate. As you enter the room itself, you notice in the very center of the room there is a massive, probably about 10 foot in diameter, magic circle with intricately carved elvish runes all throughout it. And you notice there is a high elf standing there in these kind of billowing robes that turns to you, and as soon as he sees you, you notice that he just starts to grab for a wand that he keeps on his belt. And as more of you come in, he just kind of steadies himself and looks at you kind of oddly, not removing his hand from the wand.
I approach the high elf and pull out
And
my little.
as you get close, he kind of notices what you're wearing, and he says, "Greetings, cleric. To what do I owe the surprise?"
Surprise it is. That's the word of the day. I have this token, and I believe the rapier that just displayed its prowess.
And as soon as you show the token, you can see kind of this recognition in his face. He's like, "Oh,
Yes,
you
that.
seek an audience with Platinum Rapier, Aethwin. Yes, what you'll need to do," and he kind of points to the circle, after you exit the teleportation building in the upper city, directly in front of you will be a large estate. That is the estate of Platinum Rapier Aether. You can go up to the gate, show your token, and they will allow you in. May I assume that these others are here with you?
I have no idea who these folks are. These lesser beings.
So he kind of turns to the rest of you, and he immediately goes to Phaeton first. And he goes, "Pardon me, Bronze Quarterstaff?
Yes, sir.
Exactly who are
Yes.
these other people with you?"
I really do not know who they are, but they have directed to meet with the Platinum Rapier.
And so as you say you don't know who they are, you notice that he actually starts to draw the wand a little bit. But then as soon as you finish with, "Well, they've got the same stone and everything," we assume that, this is what is supposed to be happening. He kind of stows it again. And he's like, "Well, you've heard the directions. Anyone that needs to have an audience with Platinum Rapier, Aethwin, step onto the teleportation circle, and I shall send you where you need to go.
Step on up.
I go up to the high elf and I just tell him, I'm just going to say this. I don't like this city. That is all.
He doesn't really seem phased. He actually, as you get closer, you notice that the hand that used to be on the wand has actually left it, but brings up a handkerchief. And as you get close, he kind of covers his nose with it and just kind of goes, all right, just, and kind of waves you over.
Ha ha.
You notice he backs up as you approach him as well, just so he doesn't have to deal with you. Punchinello, McKellen, Elaine, anything?
As he looks down, he immediately sees me already like right at his feet,
Yeah,
and I'm kind of holding the stone.
and again, he just
I'm
kind
looking
of...
at him in amazement because I've never really seen an elf in person.
And he just kind of waves you along. He doesn't seem quite as disgusted with you, a little bit more amused with you than Avok. Like, he sincerely does not like Avok. And he actually refuses to make eye contact with Elaine.
Wow.
Elaine's just gonna go ahead and go up to the teleporter without a word.
Okay.
I haven't put the stone down, by the way.
Okay, yeah,
It's
you're just-
I'm just
This is
walking
what's
up
keeping me alive, folks.
Yeah.
I show the guy the stone.
Mm-hmm.
As I start to walk on the teleporter, I sort of stop,
Mm-hmm.
kind of leaning over in his direction. You're going to hear some stories about from the Maces. That was me. And just walk onto the teleporter.
And he gives you this very quizzical look as he holds this cloth over his nose, and just goes, okay, and just kind of pushes you over. And then as you guys all stand on it, you notice that he makes some motions with his hands, and then you see him kind of focus on the magic circle itself and just concentrate. And you guys, again, can feel the familiar feeling of magic activating. You know, the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand on end, and the whole air around you kind of feels very energized, very electric. And you guys start to notice that this bright light starts to appear from the summoning circle. And it starts getting brighter and brighter, and you guys start noticing that your vision is kind of being completely taken over by this white light, and it gets to the point where everything is just this wash of white magical energy, and you guys actually can't even see yourselves anymore. You can't see your bodies. You can't see anything. It's just whiteness everywhere. And then the light itself starts to fade, and you notice that the elf that was there previously has changed. It is now a female elf, a little bit shorter, that's just kind of standing there, waiting very solemnly, not really surprised at all that you guys are there. And you guys look around and you notice that the symbols in the room itself are different. And the elvish runes on the summoning circle itself have rearranged themselves. And you assume that the teleportation must have been successful. Either that or these guys have really, really cool magic tricks.
Am I familiar with this room?
This one specifically, no. But you've been in teleporters, like you live in the lower city, you worked in the upper city. So you have been through this process probably 2 or 3 dozen times. So you haven't been to this specific teleporter, though. This is one that's generally reserved for the rapiers and the other people that live in this very affluent portion of the upper city.
I stand up real tall and smirk.
Okay. She just kind of nods to you and kind of gestures towards the door in a very, very respectful manner. She doesn't seem to quite have the hiccup that the other one had.
All right.
Anyone else?
I still got my stone up, so.
You're just like, ugh. And again, every one of them, everyone except Elaine, she makes eye contact. She says, "Welcome," and she kind of gestures. With Elaine, again, she refuses to make eye contact whatsoever. She doesn't seem as hostile as everyone else, but she will not acknowledge your presence.
Avok's a slight dizziness because he's never gone through teleportation. So
It's a
This is-
very bizarre feeling.
yeah,
You've been around due to your history. You've been around magic a lot. You've never had a magical spell that powerful used on you. So you're a little bit flabbergasted. Anyone else?
yeah. I'm like, ooh.
Well, I would sure make getting into the crow's nest a lot easier.
And you can see that she acknowledges the joke that you just made. She doesn't actually laugh, but she
Right.
acknowledges that, oh, you've made a joke. Congratulations.
Sympathy nod.
Right.
Yes.
She seems incredibly respectful, like much. Everyone else that you guys have dealt with on your way to the city has obviously had a large problem with you, especially Elaine. This woman has acted very, very differently. You don't get any hostile feelings from her, but you also don't get any positive feelings from her. She seems almost like just a blank slate emotionally.
All right.
No warm fuzzies.
I will proceed out the room, acknowledging her, continuing on towards our destination.
She bows. Even though technically she is your superior, she bows very low as you pass and gestures.
I raise an eyebrow at that. Because I haven't earned that yet.
Anyone else? Everyone just exiting, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
as you guys enter or exit the building, you are blown away with how vastly different it is here. In the lower city, in the outer city, it's just kind of dark, dank. You can see the upper city floating, 400 feet above you, and it blocks out a large portion of the light to the city. So it's kind of dimly lit everywhere. Generally, there are torches lit on every street corner. When you got to the lower city, it's very, very nice, very, very kind of sterile. But again, with the upper city directly above it, there were magical sconces all around that were providing very, very nice light. Now that you are in the upper city, the sun shines directly on everything. And you see all of the buildings, while everything else looked fairly nice, I'm hearing myself, I think. I'm not.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I got distracted. You notice that everywhere else had that kind of platinum sheen to it. Here, everything, all the walls and everything actually look immaculate. You can tell that they're clean. You actually can see two high elves that are kind of wandering around, and every so often you'll see them stop by an area that just doesn't quite look as magnificent, and you'll watch them kind of clasp their hands together and then point them at that point, and the hands will glow, and any blemish or disarming feature will instantly be removed. The city itself, you can feel magical energy everywhere. The hairs on the back of your neck don't stop standing up, like you're just surrounded and almost saturated with magic, just wandering around. You can see that in front of you, probably about 500 or 600 feet, there is a very ornate gate with a wall, and behind it stands this very impressive multi-level manor. You can see that on the gate themselves, there's a very unique rapier motif of just, it looks kind of like a bunch of crossing swords that have created this gate that just were magically suspended in air at one point and stuck together. And you can see just on the other side of the gate, there is a high elf standing there, very straight, with posture so straight and uptight that you almost think he's about to break. Just standing there looking directly in your direction, but not moving, not saying anything, just standing there very stiff and formal.
Is Punchinello still holding up his dagger token?
Yeah.
Then I just look at the rest of the group. Do you all have one of those?
Really?
Yeah, William's gonna hold his up.
I've actually switched arms because one arm got tired.
I flip mine like a modern day quarter, and well, to the rapier Eighthman's home, shall we? I just walk right up to. I don't wait for a response from anyone. I just walk right up towards.
As you approach, you notice that the gate, as soon as you get close enough, the gate actually opens outward. As you walk up, and you notice that the man standing there goes, "Very good to see you, sir. Good
Why,
cleric,"
thank you.
and he bows very lowly. I'm not sure if that's a word. He bows low.
I try to bow lower.
Deeply. He bows deeply.
Deeply. Thank you.
Yep.
He bows deeply. He comes up. "You have been summoned by Platinum Rapier Aethwin.
That is correct.
Then I will show you and your companions to the waiting area." And you notice that he turns very stiffly and formally and starts walking forward, without really waiting for you guys to follow him. As you guys are walking down this pathway, you notice that it doesn't matter how quickly or how slowly the group itself moves. He's never more than about 10 to 15 feet ahead of you, and he's never looked back. He just seems to intrinsically know where you are, and is leading you to where you go. The pathway from the gate to the doorway of the manor is about 100 feet. Like, this is a big, big property. As you guys are wandering through, you notice something you haven't seen anywhere else in the city thus far, is on either side of this path, there are patches of incredibly kind of bright green grass. And you can see that there are various trees in different places. The fruit on some of these trees you can see looks almost picturesque. Very, like, everything about this area is just very visually appealing. And as you guys walk up to the door, again, as soon as you guys get close enough to the doors, they open without anyone touching them. There's no one on the inside. They just open for you. And your guide wanders in completely, kind of spins on his heel and waits for you all to enter. And as you enter, the doors behind you close slowly. And then once everyone there he goes, "If the party would be kind enough to follow me," and he makes a kind of a grand gesture, spins on his heel, and starts walking again to the right down one of the many hallways that you guys can see. As you wander through the manor itself, you notice very fine works of art. You can see a lot of weapons. Very decorative, ornate weapons are hung on walls. Some of them are rapiers, some of them are long swords, some of them are just these very kind of wicked curved blades that you've never seen before. But there's very much kind of a military feel to this house. And eventually you are taken to a room with a fairly large table. As you guys come in, you notice that the table has goblets, and you can see that there's a few pitchers there with a couple different liquids in them. You're not quite sure what they are yet. You can see that there are bowls of fruit that are literally overflowing with incredibly delicious looking food. You can also notice that there's a few baked goods on this table as well. Things that you haven't seen anywhere else in the city. And the guide kind of stops at the doorway and waits for you guys to kind of shuffle in. And he goes, "My master, bids you welcome and regrets that he is currently unavailable to meet with you. He offers you this bounty to tide you over until the meeting can take place. And then he kind of turns, he's kind of saying this just to nothing, and then he turns to all of you. He goes, please do not attempt to leave the area. It will cause commotion. And then he kind of turns on his heel, walks to the door, and the doors close behind him. And now you guys are in this very, very immaculately designed room, just kind of chilling.
I'm grabbing a drink.
What food was there again?
Say again?
What food was there again?
There's fruit. There's some pastries that have been baked. It's very, very nice.
Okay.
So there's no meat. You don't see any cooked meats, but everything there you can see is a very, very nice, kind of polite snack for everybody.
Never eat meat in these fancy places.
So I pretty much grab a handful of pastry and just shove it in my mouth.
All right. You immediately start eating. Do you
Is
sit in
there-
one of the kind of overstuffed chairs, or you're just standing there shoving your face?
Standing there shoving my face.
Okay.
I'm going to reach into one of my many pockets and pull out a book and have a seat.
Okay.
I'm going to put my stone finally away slowly,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to reach up. You said there's fruit and stuff?
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Lots
going to
of
grab like an apple, or what an equivalent of an apple in that world, and hop happily onto one of the cushions and just sit there and eat, kick my feet.
As you bite into the apple, you almost feel kind of an electricity as you bite into it, and your mouth is just flooded with incredible flavor. It's fairly obvious to you that something has been done to these apples to make them exquisite.
Holy shit! And I keep biting it again and again. That's all they hear from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elaine's just gonna kind of approach the table, but kind of away from the other members, and kind of reach into his pocket and pull out a little mouse, sit it up on the table, and take a seat and start snacking on some of the pastry. Kind of let his mouse do what it likes. It probably runs over and starts snacking on another piece of pastry or something.
So now there's a mouse on the table.
Yep.
In case any of you guys care.
I try to go post up on a wall because I don't want to be sitting if the platinum rapier shows up. That would be disrespectful in my eyes.
Do you? No one has tested any of the liquids in these various pitchers yet.
I'm grabbing probably what's the most, I don't think opaque is the right word, but the clearest looking.
You notice that
Drink.
they have crystal clear water in one of the pitchers.
I'm grabbing that then. Grabbing a glass of that. I'm just
So-
going to circle the outer edge of the room, I'm watching, just looking at the walls and
As
Taking-
you pour the water into the goblet, you notice that the level of water in the pitcher doesn't go down. It just seems to kind of replace itself as the more you pour. And then you're able to kind of wander around again. Very, martial feeling to this room. There are paintings that depict, great battles and things like that. Obviously, very, very well crafted. You can see, again, weapons in various positions around the wall, mounted as decoration and conversation pieces.
I'd like to kind of inspect those and see if I can get a feel if these are depictions of Aethlin's conquest or just like famous battles or something.
As you look at them, you're fairly certain that they are custom paintings that you haven't seen before, but from your knowledge of Eladrin history, you can recognize a few of them as famous points. There's one on the wall that depicts the Council of Five battling with what looks like some dragonborn sorcerers and being victorious in that. There's another one that shows kind of an Eladrin, or actually, I have a picture of that one. There's another one that shows that picture of an Eladrin victory, naval victory, as they're kind of sailing through with their magically enhanced ships. So
I'd definitely be taking a close look at that one. As I said, McKellen will, being a sailor, is definitely taking a close look at the painting of the ships.
Mm-hmm. You notice instantly that these are very realistic-looking elven warships. You have, in fact, the one that you served on just before you were invited to this looks identical to one of these. Again, there's not a ton of variation between elven warships, but this one looks very, very similar to the one that you served on, McKellen. So as you guys sit there, you notice that 10 minutes passed, 15 minutes passed, nothing has really changed. After about 20 or 30 minutes, you notice that your guide that came in earlier comes in with a few extra people that are carrying, two of them are carrying plates of pastries. The other two are carrying nothing. They instantly go over and they take the pastries that are already on the table and leave with them, and they replace them with these new pastries that look like they're fresh out of the oven. You guys start to get the idea that you may be here for a while. So you have the option of kind of talking to each other. You guys have come to the realization that you all are here for the same purpose, but you don't really know exactly what led any of you to get here. And due to the way that you were all recruited, you're fairly certain that you guys are going to have to basically rely on each other to get through whatever this secret assignment is. So what would you guys like to do? Again, now you've been together for about half an hour. No one's really said anything to anyone. It's just been one of those awkward silences. Every so often, someone will kind of, catch eyes, and you'll do one of those nod things, and then go back to
Normal life.
I go up to one of the people who brought in the new food and just ask,
Hey, you got any meat in this place?
Say that one more time. I didn't actually hear what you said.
apologies.
Hey, you got any meat in this place?
They look at you, and they don't really seem to know what to say. So they just kind of glance at whom you're assuming the gentleman you're assuming is kind of the head of the household staff. And he turns to you. He says, "Dinner will be served later. In between dinner, we do not serve meats and other delicacies. What you have before you is what we have to provide."
Go figure, you margarine.
So I take just a picture of whatever's in it and sit down Indian style and start chugging.
Okay. The picture that you've actually picked up is kind of a weaker chilled wine that you just start downing, and you're a big guy. You have done this before. This time doesn't quite work the way you were expecting it to. You start tilting it back, and you kind of expect the level to go down, so you tilt it back even further, and it starts to splash against your face. It gets on your shoulders and what other clothing you might be wearing right now, and you kind of look down, and you notice that the level of this chilled wine hasn't gone down at all. even though you got a good, you know, from what you have drank and what you have spilled on yourself, you were expecting like a good third of it to be gone.
Well, magic wine. I like it.
With your constitution, you're not really feeling the effects of the fairly weak alcohol, but you can tell that it's got some spirits in it.
I make my way over to Avok and comment. So, a fan of wines, are you?
Whatever gets thrown my way, I don't mind a good drink every now and then.
Good drink. Speaking of good drink, where are you from? What type of drinks do you have down wherever you live?
It's this little island called Odonie. That's where I hail from. Where do you live?
Never heard of it.
That figures. Your lodger is so high and mighty you don't pay attention to the lesser.
I grab a goblet from the table and hold it over to him to see if he'll pour without asking.
Find something else.
I drop the goblet and turn to the table, walk over there, and just sit down.
So you guys are fast friends.
Oh yeah, clearly. I look at the other Eladrin and kind of make an assumption of him from his bronze quarterstaff and just kind of give him a little head nod.
Not even noticing it with my nose stuck in a book. I'm just sort of sitting there reading, and I'll raise a hand and have an apple just float from the table over to my hand and take a bite.
It's a good book, guys. Like,
Yeah,
it's on
my reading there.
You guys need to read this.
it's on the Platinum City, bestsellers list for like 4 weeks in a row. It's really good. Something about 50 Shades of something.
Oh God!
Oh my.
50 Shades of Arcane.
Thank God I don't read.
So I notice a mouse crawling on the table. I just kind of look at the mouse, look at Elaine, look at the mouse. Interesting companion.
He's just gonna kind of look over at you, just kind of nod a little bit and go back to snacking on his pastry.
So a few more kind of awkward conversations happen. It seems like none of you guys are really sharing too much of your life before getting involved in this. And the conversation itself kind of stagnates a little bit. Another hour passes. You notice that they come in and they replace the baked goods again. You notice another person comes in with another bowl of fruit that replaces the one that's kind of been munched on already. When one of them comes in and sees Avok, kind of nursing this pitcher, they kind of look a combination of surprise and disgust at the same time, and then just kind of spit on their heels and walk back out. After waiting there for what seems like probably close to 2 to 3 hours at this point, your guide returns, and you notice that he opens the door. He stands, this time even at... he seems even stiffer than he was before, if that was even possible. And as he turns, he goes, "I present Platinum Rapier, 8th Wind." And he bows incredibly low. And what was that?
I immediately stand up.
Okay. And as he bows low. You notice the same gentleman you saw on the streets earlier comes in, but somehow he looks even more regal than he did down there. He's wearing full, what looks like kind of enchanted platinum armor. Not incredibly thick, and you can see that as he moves, it restricts his movement very little. Obviously, very highly made armor. He's got his rapier with the platinum all throughout the hilt at his side. He has this kind of long flowing cloak that covers his shoulders and goes all the way down. You can see that the cloak itself actually kind of shimmers, and depending on which angle you look at it, is a slightly different color. And everything that he's wearing and everything that he's doing seems to just radiate strong magical energy. And as he comes in, he enters, he waits for his manservant to exit, the doors close, and then you guys kind of notice that the windows in the room become kind of cloudy and then become almost completely opaque. And you notice that the door behind him glows very faintly around the seals. And you notice that you can no longer hear anything from outside this room. And Aethwin stands up very solemnly and goes, "If you would all be seated, I can tell you for why you have been brought here." And he kind of moves himself to the head of the table. With a flick of his hand, you notice that all of the food and everything just kind of vanishes, including the pitcher that Avok was kind of nursing. It just kind of vanishes from your hands. And you notice that with another kind of wave of his hand, the chairs that were around this table kind of move back a little bit to allow you guys to all sit. And he sits in a very, very regal-looking chair at the head of the table.
I will sit in the chair next to him up on the right-hand side.
All right. He kind of nods as you sit down.
I'm gonna scoop my mouse up and just kind of slide them into my pocket.
Okay. He seems to kind of ignore it.
I'm just gonna get up from the floor and go to the chair and plop right on down hard.
Again, he kind of ignores it. Doesn't acknowledge it.
I'm gonna take the furthest seat from him.
Okay. You're sitting on the same end as Elaine.
Yep.
I walk over and climb up into my chair and try to sit down, but notice I'm like eye level with the table.
You notice as you do that, he kind of nods in your direction and just kind of lifts his hand and makes kind of just like a quick motion like that. And you notice that the legs on your chair adjust themselves so that you are now at eye level with everybody else at the table.
Thank you kindly.
And again, he kind of nods in your general direction. The only one still standing is Fade. So he gestures for you to sit in the chair on the other side of him across from Phaeton.
Of course, sir. And like I said,
so as everyone sits down, he looks very solemn as he says, "You have all been brought here to deal with a rather difficult situation." And as he says that, he actually stands up again and kind of motions that, don't worry about standing up. And he gets up, he's like, "For the past 4 years, the seas have been plagued by a pirate. Our troops have attempted to capture him on multiple occasions. But for whatever reason, we have been completely incapable of doing anything but repelling his attacks barely. And he kind of waits to kind of sink that in. He then kind of turns back to you guys and he goes, "You have all been called here because you have special skills that we think might be useful in the apprehension of this pirate."
Apprehension. Is that the only course of action?
And he turns to you and he says, "He needs to be stopped. However you decide to do that is your prerogative. You have my authority to do whatever you feel necessary to stop the deaths of thousands of Eladrin he has slain over the course of his career."
I show a face of just disgust.
What is this pirate's name?
He goes by many names, the most recent of which he's been referred to as the Black Scourge.
Sounds corny to me.
Do you
As
know
to
his,
the- I'm sorry, what did you say?
do you know his actual name?
We have never had the ability to interrogate him beyond a few words. We only know what his crew call him, which is Captain, and what his victims refer to him as, which is the Black Scourge.
Okay.
I raise my hand.
And he kind of acknowledges you.
He doesn't happen to peer out of, say, a cold fog that just happens to roll across the ocean and then he suddenly appears out of nowhere?
And he kind of looks a little bit puzzled and looks at you a little bit quizzically and goes, "Yes. Have you..."
He has a ship of a skeleton holding a sword on the front. He's got really weird thorns coming out of his boat.
And then he kind of acknowledges, he's like, "Yes. You must be the one that we encountered on the last ship that he attacked.
Yeah, I stuck an arrow in him.
That may be why it was that my servant decided you were qualified to join this excursion."
Okay, I raise my hands. Okay. And just put my hand back down.
Do the rest of you have any questions?
Still stuffing my face with an apple.
Give it a shot.
I already have my reasons for being here, so I'm just kind of listening.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Phaeton?
I assume we're going to have a ship, right?
I will be providing you with one of the finest woven ships currently in port. I will introduce you to the captain when you arrive.
And he already knows our mission?
He and his first officer are the only two on board the ship that are aware of what your true mission is.
Okay.
When was the last time the Black Scourge was sighted?
About 2 days ago. Right? That's about how long it would have been?
I think it was slightly longer than that, because
Was
it
it?
took you a little while to get there.
Oh, that's true.
Really? I don't have your backstory in front of me. Say a couple of weeks, barely. Like you went almost directly from the port to where you are. I may retcon that, depending on when I find the story that I wrote, like yesterday.
Okay.
It was late. He, as you guys all start kind of inquiring, he kind of turns towards McKellen and says, "The only person in this room who has actually encountered him and survived is sitting towards the end of this table." And he kind of gestures towards you. Perhaps you would be able to give us a more accurate depiction of what it is you will be encountering.
Clear my throat. I was in the crow's nest. I kind of hook a thumb back towards the arrow, the longbow that's on my back. He goes, and just said, I have a very good talent of landing arrows, flaming arrows, into other ships' sails, shall we say. Uh, I was on an Eldrin ship, contracted out. When another pirate ship came upon us, a fight broke out. It was, standard pirate battle. Eldrin, great warriors that they are, seemed to have things in control while I was up in the crow's nest, just taking out whatever pirate I could. When probably one of the more stranger things I've ever experienced on the sea, a fog rolled in. And I don't know, even being in the crow's nest, I still have no idea where the fog came from. It was really cold. And then breaking from the fog itself was the ship. It had the skeleton holding a sword on the bow. The wood itself that the ship was made of is the damnedest thing I have ever seen. It's like thorns were growing out of the hull itself. It wasn't flat sides. I mean, it was actual sharp thorns. And they joined the pirates too, and frankly, we started. I honestly thought that we weren't going to make it out alive until I saw what I assume is the Scourge. Being up in the crow's nest, figured why not? Took a shot at him. It landed, and it had this odd effect where all the pirates stopped. And when that happened, the Eldrin took advantage, managed to press the pirates off the ship itself, and we managed to sail away safely.
I must add to this account that the lives lost were many in this encounter. More than half the crew were injured badly, and a large portion eventually succumbed to their wounds. We are hoping, due to the fact that we have attempted sending entire armadas against this pirate only to be met with nothing but broken ships and dead bodies, we are hoping that a small, highly skilled team will be able to succeed where our armada have failed. You have amongst you some very unique abilities. Specifically, and he kind of gestures over towards Phaeton. One of your number has shown great ingenuity in how he shapes and sculpts his spell work. We hope that the inclusion of intellectual creativity like his own will give you a distinct advantage over our crews that have been more inclined to stick to the tried and true methods that have worked for centuries.
Where can we find him?
That is something you will have to discover on your own. I'm sure the captain of your vessel will have ideas where you can find information, but we have never been able to track him beyond his latest attack. Even when we send armadas against him, he finds us. We do not find him.
Understood, sir. When would you like us to leave?
Immediately. I must also ask that you not reveal your purpose to anyone save the captain and first officer of the ship.
Okay. Seeing that the mission is secret, what is our cover story?
You are doing work for me. And then he goes, I assume you all still have the trinket my servant supplied you with?
Yes.
And as he does that, he kind of gestures for you guys to bring it out. And as you guys are all kind of holding it, he just waves his hand. And you notice that the dagger that was etched into this small stone starts to change and takes on the appearance of a rapier. that looks like an exact copy of the one that he wears on his hip. And he goes, "This stone will mark you as my servants. Use it wherever my authority can open doors for you. You will have no trouble from Eladrin when you show them this. Beyond that, your ingenuity and creativity will have to serve you.
Mm-hmm.
Simply by telling them that you are working for me personally and that they are not privy to the knowledge that you have, most Eladrin should drop it right there."
I understand.
Whatever.
Do any of the rest of you have any questions?
Yes. Can I get a shirt with the symbol?
I'm sorry? And he just looks
Can-
at you kind of weird.
Well, it's a pain in the ass pulling out this stone all the time. I'd like a shirt with the symbol.
And he just kind of shakes his head a little bit and he's like, "No, it doesn't quite work that way."
I just hang my head.
You on the end, and he kind of gestures towards Elaine, and this is the first Eladrin that has acknowledged you as anything but scum. He turns to you and says, "You've been rather quiet."
I didn't see much reason to speak up, considering most of you at Eladrin don't care for my kind.
Well, my personal feelings aside, you are part of this team and therefore should be able to get any information you need to successfully complete this assignment.
All right.
Do you have any inquiries as to the nature of your mission?
Not particularly.
Well, if none of you have anything else to ask me, everyone just shifted.
Yeah, we did. That was awesome.
Who did I'm trying to figure out who it was that I actually lost. I'm not going to change things. We'll wait for him to rejoin the conversation.
Yeah, we lost Avic.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Google Plus Hangouts is acting weird. Cool. So once he gets back, our lovely halfling. There we go.
Sorry.
Hi. We missed you.
Suddenly it was like, authentication issue, bye. It's like, what?
Gotta love Google Plus Hangouts, guys. Technology is awesome. He finishes with, "If none of you have any further questions, then I must ask that you get to your task immediately." And he's, again, kind of adjusts himself to full height. As soon as he says that, you notice that the windows that have been turned completely opaque suddenly kind of fade into the clear glass that you're used to seeing. You notice that the door itself stops glowing, and you can start. And as soon as that happens, you notice that the door opens, and the head of the household kind of wanders in and just stands there waiting. Aethwin walks through and walks out the door, and the head of the household bows very lowly, comes back up, and turns to the rest of you. He goes, "At the gates, leaving the manor, there will be a servant who will take you to the ship. If you have any other needs, speak with the servant." And then he again does a quick nod and walks out of the door to wait for you guys to kind of exit.
I will get up and proceed out the room, assuming everyone has followed me.
I look at everyone else and kind of gesture towards the door.
So to move things along a little bit, you guys all decide to leave eventually. As you get to the door, you notice a younger woman, half elven, or not half elven, high elven, sorry, high elven, standing there. And as you come close enough, she cuts these and she's like, "Very nice to meet you, sir. My name is Elizabeth, and I will be taking you to the ship.
Well,
If you
thank
would
you.
be so kind as to follow me."
Lead on.
Right, and so she leads you. She takes you back to the teleportation room. Very similar thing happens where you feel that kind of magical energy, and you transport down to the lower city. Now that you are traveling with Elizabeth, you get a lot less looks from people. You notice that no one's really stopping you. Obviously, they know that Elizabeth works for Eighth Wind. And so you guys make it through the lower city rather quickly. You make it to the outer city. Instead of turning towards the gate that you guys came from, you actually start heading towards the docks. When you guys get to the docks, you notice that the docks themselves seem to be almost alive. There is constant movement. You can see dwarves moving boxes everywhere, and you can see wood elves wandering around. A lot of them with their masters there with like whips and things, commanding them to go. It's utter chaos. And as you guys are kind of being pushed through this area and kind of going around, you go to a dock on the far edge of the docks area. And you see a very unique looking ship. The ship itself has these kind of lilac colored sails with some symbols you haven't seen before. It has a very, dragon motif to it. And as you walk close to it, you see a human standing at the edge with kind of a scroll um, there, kind of barking commands to other people just wandering around. And as soon as Elizabeth comes up, and he goes, "And exactly what might you be doing here, lass?" And Elizabeth kind of, I hate it when that happens. All right. It's not what I want. There we go. Elizabeth kind of turns and goes, "Sir, these are the men that Platinum Rapier Eighthwin has assigned to you." And she kind of curtsies, and then she leaves. And the guy kind of looks you up and down. He's like, "Well, looks like I better be bringing you to the captain." And he kind of gestures for you to come on the ship. As you guys get on, you notice that the ship itself is taking on a fair amount of provisions. You can see people of every kind wandering around on this ship. You can see a couple halflings wandering around, skittling up and down the masts as they kind of tie things down. You can see a fair amount of humans. You can see dwarves just about everywhere, just kind of everyone having their own purpose. Quite a few times you've been walking somewhere and people have literally just walked through you, almost completely ignoring the fact that you're there to get whatever it is that they're doing done. Eventually, you're taken to the back of the ship and through a few doors to the captain's cabin. And as you come in, you see a dwarf wearing a very distinct looking red silk shirt, and you can see that he's got what looks like a cutlass on his side. You notice on the other side it looks like he's got a buckler there. You can see that he just seems very, very commanding. And as soon as he comes in, he turns to you and goes, "So, It looks like I'm taking on a few more passengers on this trip. And he kind of waits for you guys to acknowledge something.
Yes.
All right. Well, no one sails on my ship without me knowing everything about them. Let's start with names. Who are you?
Phaeton. Of, is it brass? Brass quarterstaff.
How about bronze? We don't use brass.
Bronze? Okay, bronze.
I'm sorry.
Aye, it's a pleasure to meet you, Phaeton. What about the rest of you lot?
I introduce myself as I'm McKellen Longshot. I have served on, and I just start listing off all the names of the boats that I have served on.
And about halfway through the lift, he kind of cuts you off. He's like, I've heard of you. Had quite a few times that I've been considering trying to find you to pull a few shifts on my own ship. You come highly recommended. What about the
Fortunately,
rest
I
of
have a
you lot?
skill.
You may call me Fade. I am of House Moonbreeze.
Aye, cleric. It's nice to have one of your like on board. It's been a while since we've had anyone to tend to the wounded. Is that hammer on your hip just a decorative piece, or do you know how to use it?
Well, a cleric would never fight and tell. Come now.
Ha 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 ha! He has a kind of a real hearty laugh. He's like, aye, true enough. What about the other ones of you? What about the little parky one here? Keeps waving around his little rock.
Punchinello.
Well, that's a lovely little name.
And I just keep holding the stone up.
I know what the bloody stone means. You do not have to show it to me every bloody second. What about you, tall, smelly one?
You can call me Avok.
Avok, I recognize the brand on your arm there. I thought they had all been killed off.
Well, we're not all dead yet.
Aye, I've heard good things about your company. We'll have to see how much of it was idle boasting. And
Trust
you,
me.
the little action in the back there, who are you?
I'm Elaine. He says, this nods to him.
You'll have to speak up here. We're not those blasted Aladrin. You'll be expected to pull your weight around here and look someone in the eye when you speak to them.
He just kind of scoffs and looks at him.
So he turns to his first mate. He's like, close the door. And he goes back and closes it. And then kind of addresses the rest of you. He goes, so, seems that we're hunting pirates then. Is that the whole of it?
As it would seem.
More or less. Speaking of pirates, where was his last attack?
From what I heard, your buddy here was the last one that faced him. His ship fared quite a bit better than the rest of them I've heard of.
That's just because I'm a damn good shot.
Such a confident fellow. Let's hope that confidence is not misplaced.
You hear me mimicking in the background. We're hunting pirates.
So, I'm going to let you all know something very quickly here. This is my ship. The rules are not the rules of the Eladrin. They are not the rules of the dwarves. They are the rules of me. Mine and mine own. When I tell you to do something on my ship, you do it or you start swimming. Do we have an understanding?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Hi.
Now, I know you two, and he kind of points towards Phaeton and Fade. I realize that legally I'm not allowed to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got problems taking commands from me, you can swim away right now. I do not run my ship like that, and I do not care what you Eladrin think of it. I've got the greatest dwarven run ship in the entire world. If you want my services, you have to work under my rules.
There's no need for that. I think we're all here on the same team.
Right. So, where do you want to go first?
McKellen, where was your ship attacked? I think that's probably where we should start.
I'll give coordinates.
We can make it there fairly quickly. If you have anything you still need to pick up before we leave, I suggest you pick it up now. We'll be leaving within the hour. Mr. Quartermain here will show you to your rooms. I will expect you to pull some duty on the ship, but your, and he kind of almost scoffs at this, lack of experience will not aid in helping us to run this ship very well. Other than McKellen, you will probably pull very light duty. However, in the instance of a skirmish, you will be the first ones on the deck and the last ones to leave. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, Captain.
Crystal.
Yarr!
Alright, Mr. Quartermain, take them below deck, show them their bunk room, and then let's get this ship going. And he kind of waves off, and Mr. Quartermain kind of ushers you guys through the door and starts leading you to the ships. And as he does that, he just kind of absent-mindedly talks to whomever is willing to listen. He's like, "Don't be feeling too bad about the captain. He always seems a bit rough around the edges, but once you get to the point where you know him, he's a truer mate you could never find." And he keeps kind of wandering you through kind of the bowels of the ship. He eventually brings you to a room that has 6 hammocks in it. You can notice there's enough room for you guys to kind of store things. You see a few foot lockers around. He's like, this here be your room. If you be having any questions, just ask for me, and I can tell you what things need doing. We get going in the hour, so stow your gear and get ready to sail. And then he just leaves without waiting for a response.
All right. Would I know of a alchemist shop nearby where I could possibly purchase the potion?
The the outer city is not the kind of place that you would be able to find something that specific. Most magic items and things like that would be something that you would find in the lower city, which, given the amount of time before you leave, you wouldn't really have the time to make it all the way back to the lower city and back to the docks before they wanted to leave.
Fair enough.
I'm going to ask Phantom. McKellen's going to turn to you and just sort of quietly ask, how good are you at enchanting arrows, shall we say?
I do not have anything that would be very effective with enchanting arrows.
I'm not looking. It's okay. It's just when I landed that shot on the Scourge, it really seemed to put a pause in the action, and I'm just trying to think of a way to single him out, because he was not on the ship. He stayed on his ship, far away from the fight.
Sounds like a pussy to me.
I look forward to the day you meet him then, and see how you feel about that.
I could probably work up something to mark him out so he stands out for people to target.
Okay. Something to keep in mind.
Well.
So is there any other preparations you guys wanted to make before you start heading out?
I just kind of take stock of the current group and kind of get a feel for everyone's abilities. Just kind of ask everyone what type of, I guess, combat they've seen before, so I know who to stand behind.
You won't be standing behind me.
Other than
I
that,
asked for some more of those magical apples.
Remarkably enough, you aren't able to find anyone in the outer city that has any idea what you're talking about. Yeah, you actually had one woman that you went up to, like a fruit stand. She goes, "Magical apples? What the bloody hell are you talking about? Talking about magical apples? We don't have magical apples here for you, kind sir. We've got the real ones that you eat."
And I show the stone.
She doesn't actually seem to care.
Magic apples?
She just at this point she's actually just kind of talking to herself, complaining. She's kind of written you off as crazy. Magical apples! I can't believe that's what I've been working in this place for 17 years. No one's ever come up and asked me for magical apples. Like my apples aren't good enough. I'll have you know that my apples are some of the greatest apples in the entire.
And I slowly, she doesn't watch me walk away.
Yeah,
I walk away.
she's completely in her own world at this point.
And then when I return to the group, I just look sad.
So unless anyone else has preparations they want to make, the ship kind of sets sail without too much difficulty. And you guys are set off. It's been... the trip itself is actually quicker than you guys expected. It actually only took you a few days to make it there because you happened to catch some good winds. While you guys were on the ship, Quartermain had given you kind of basic instruction on how the ship works. McKellen, because you'd been serving on ships so often,
Yep.
he basically would kind of have you there to kind of translate into dummy talk as he was sitting there explaining everything. He's like, ask McKellen, he obviously knows. And he's kind of going through everything. He taught you guys, how to use a lifeline and, how to, climb the mast and all these other things. Yeah, this is how you tie a knot so that it doesn't come untied,
So the rabbit goes around the tree, and then you pull it through the hole.
And he keeps going through. Sorry, doing about 7 things at once right now, guys. He ends up going through quite a bit of. Did I lose something? Did we lose someone, or did the?
We just lost Fade. Or no?
Havoc touched my hand.
I don't know.
One. For whatever reason. Really? What the hell is going on here?
We'll do it live.
Yes.
We are.
This annoys the hell out of me.
Can you hear me still?
I can
Yeah.
still hear you guys.
Good.
I have no idea why it's shifted.
So my name's Phantom now.
Nice.
I will figure out why this is going wrong later. I'm going to try and do this simply. So why are you... None of this makes sense!
Oh,
Hold,
Blame
please.
Amish.
I don't know why it just suddenly decided that, no, we're not going to work anymore. It annoys the hell out of me. It reset everything. That is insane. Anyway, talks amongst yourselves while I pretend that this is supposed to happen.
Okay.
So, what is Ashley's, what race is your character?
Half elf.
Half elf. That's what it. Okay.
He's an abomination.
No.
Hey,
was
man, my
like
campaign
Ryan's.
half elves get the same treatment. They are not welcomed at all.
Dad, good. I was waiting to see how many Eldrin we're gonna have in our party.
Yeah, I think I counted 2 Eladrin, 2 half elves, and 2 humans.
No,
No, I
Halfling.
human and a
And a
half.
halfling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn
human.
right.
Oh,
Well,
wait.
the halfling has dignity, man.
Jam.
So now we're on a boat.
Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
We're on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
Well, that,
That's nice. So,
Stop splitting my face, Jody.
I'm doing what I can. You know, I'm a horrible person in general. I've never had this much of an issue with OBS just randomly deciding to change my cropping that I spent, what, like 20 minutes adjusting?
OBS doesn't care.
I'm starting to think that. Damn you, OBS. Damn you to hell.
It's like
can
I
you
try
see
to do
me
fancy stuff.
on the lower bar where everyone's face is?
Yeah, everything was working fine there.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Oh,
it just
decided to
reset
die.
all the cropping that I did.
Well, it's okay. I'm uncroppable. I understand.
Such a crappy party.
No, I'm with good night, folks.
All right, everything's fixed. So, you guys are, sorry about that, folks. Technical difficulties because we rock. You guys have been traveling for a little while. You guys finally make it to, I guess I could have just done this because this is the next thing you guys see. You guys eventually make it to the town that near where McKellen signed on with the ship, but it's actually a separate town. Due to the fact that the attack actually happened fairly far out to sea, so this is actually the closest town to where the attack happened. So as you guys land and they're doing, you know, the basic stuff to get the ship into port, the captain kind of calls you into his room and says, "Aye, so we've arrived here. Exactly what are you all thinking about doing in this town?"
Jody.
Okay.
He's just kind of staring at you guys.
Well, I will check with local officials to see what they know. I would suggest that other members of our group have other contacts in other locations that I would not be welcome at.
So the coordinates of this attack, was it, what's the setting looking like? If we're here.
If we're where I signed on originally, then the last attack is about 3 days. I'm looking over the note, the backstory. The attack is about 3 days out from where we are right now.
Okay.
Due to the fact that you're technically at a nearby town, it's actually a little bit closer to 2 days out.
Okay.
So.
Oh, all right. We're not in my hometown. Gotcha.
Yeah. So you're going to go talk to the police, and you think that's going to help us find a pirate? You must be very new at this.
Well, I am, and I'm of the Eldrin, and I would have to speak with the people of my status. So we have other individuals that have more underground contacts, I would think.
All right, so what you're telling me is you're about useless in this town. Something we both agree on. So what about the rest of you lot?
I look at him and go, I'll check with the other boats. I'll be right back.
All right. Anyone else want to do something? Maybe talk to the wee little archers in the street, see if they know anything. Perhaps give him some candy.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm just gonna go see if I can come into contact with any other rogues within the city. See if they know anything.
It's a great idea, guys. We can drive around in a carriage and give candy to children.
He kind
Oh
of
my
looks at you
God.
disapprovingly and just shakes his head. And then he kind of looks up and he's like, exactly what did I do to deserve this? All right,
There
get
you
off
go.
my ship. Go find something so we know where to go. And he kind of gestures for you to leave. So as you guys kind of disembark, you notice that this town is incredibly different from the Platinum City. McKellen, you feel kind of at home here. This town is not quite as well off as your hometown. It's just kind of, kind of seedy in places. The docks themselves, you can tell just from having worked them before, you can tell that probably a large portion of the income in this particular area is smuggling. To be straight up about it, is smuggling and things like that. So you instantly kind of get the feel for the town. Phaeton and Fade, since you've never left the Platinum City, this seems incredibly alien to you. You every so often will see a club, like a bronze or silver club, walking around, and those are the only Eladrin that you actually see. Everybody else around here are from races that you almost never see. You can see a few gnomes wandering around. You see halflings, going through there. Dwarves are very, very common. There's lots of humans. But it's a very different experience for you from spending most of your lives being surrounded by almost exclusively Eladrin. Punchinello, again, this is a kind of a weird experience for you. You're much more, like, the village you come from is very much more a natural village.
Yeah.
So just kind of the hustle and bustle, everything seems fascinating to you. And Elaine, you're used to seedier areas. Nothing really surprises you. And Avok, you've probably been through, if not this specific town, other towns like it in one of the campaigns that you fought in. So, again, nothing completely surprising to you. So, what would you guys like to do?
Oh, I'm gonna go find the nearest tavern and get a little drinking on.
All right.
Because I got nothing better to do.
Avok's going to the tavern. What about the rest of you guys? You guys all going to follow him? Are you going to split the party? What would you like to do?
Well, I would like to go talk to the local constables, in this case, the clubs.
Okay.
So, as I said.
Before we deal with that, anything else the rest of you guys want to do?
I'm just checking in with the crews of the other boats.
Okay.
Just casually seeing if they've come across anything in the last week or two.
Okay. And then Elaine, Punchinello, Fade, what are you guys doing?
Wanted to kind of see if I can use Thieves' Cant, see if I can come into contact with any of the rogues or thieves around in the city.
You can see some areas that are marked very clearly in Thieves' Cant to be safer areas for, like, staying away when there's heat on. So you can see a few hide holes that are marked, and you've seen a few people that have been wandering around giving various hand signs that you recognize. So you know that there is a population that works, unbeknownst to the law. You haven't contacted any of them, but you can tell that there are a few there. Punchinello, Fade?
Well, seeing as I've never been here before, what would I look for to try to find people that I might have stuff in common with?
Here, you're not really going to find many people you have anything in common with. You're a cleric. You're a ladrin. Like you are going to stick out like a sore thumb no matter where you go. You do know the place where you're most likely to find the largest, I guess, variety of people is going to be the tavern. You know, most towns like this, the tavern is kind of the meeting place for the town. It generally tends to be a decent place to pick up rumors and things like that. So, as much
Well,
as Avok doesn't have that in mind, that
Yeah, I
is
see
not.
that Avak wants to go that way.
Okay.
I just kind of follow suit. Not too
Okay.
close, but I know he looks formidable, so I kind of want to hang around him.
Gotcha. Then Punchinello?
I'm gonna notice everyone just splitting off and just leaving me there as I'm kind of like staring at shit. And then I can still see the big guy walking towards the tavern, and I'm gonna like run up after him.
Okay. So we will start with Phaeton, since you were the first one to answer me. So as you kind of wander through the town, you kind of draw your quarterstaff and point it towards one of the clubs, and they see it and they notice the staff and that it's a rank weapon, and so they come over and you notice that even the dialect around here is very different, and so he comes over. He's like, "Hello, exactly what might you be wanting from me?"
I've been hearing rumors of pirates in this area. I was wondering if you could provide me with more information. What has been hit recently? And
Yeah,
where? And
pirates.
what?
They go and they kill people. Lots of people.
I
If you'd like to
understand.
see their handiwork, it's right over there. And he points towards a cemetery.
Okay. I would like to be more interested in locations of where they've hit people
Listen,
recently.
I'd love to help you out. I really would. My job is to keep this rabble in line, and I do that well. If you're looking
And
for information about stuff on the seas, maybe you should talk to someone who's actually been there.
okay. Who's your commander?
He's back in the jail cell. He's back in the jailhouse. He doesn't really do much, but we just call him Mace. To be perfectly honest, I can't
Okay.
actually think of his real name.
Huh.
I think it
All right.
started with like a
Let's-
D.
Who's the harbor master?
Harbor Master. That's that gentleman right over there, and he points to a guy that McKellen is actually already talking to.
Oh, okay. I will go over there and speak with him then. Thank you very much.
Right, not a problem. Always nice to help someone with some arcane abilities. Maybe one day you can teach me a thing or two.
Maybe.
So, as you wander over, you kind of step into the middle of a conversation that McKellen is having. I'm not McKellen. Are you still here?
I am.
Okay, just making sure. So your first step is you just kind of take a direct right, and you go for the person that you can obviously tell is the harbor master. He's kind of giving commands to people. You notice that he's keeping track of just, it looks like 100 different things at once, something that you're very used to seeing at a dock. And so you walk over to him and kind of just wave him down. And his first response is, "Well, it's 2 shillings to dock your boat here, and we'll have to have your name if you decide to stay here for more than perhaps an hour. What is your name, good sir?"
Is he talking to me?
Yeah, he. As soon as you waved him down, he just started talking. It seems
Okay.
what he's saying is very
Yeah.
rehearsed, like he's said it probably 1,000 times.
Is he Eldrin too, or is he?
He's not. He's
Okay.
actually a human.
Okay. I walk out to him. It's like, oh, I'm with, and whatever the name of the boat is that we're on.
It's actually called the Dragon's Breath.
I told him, I was like, I just pulled in with the Dragon's Breath. Just came from the Platinum City, man.
He kind of his eyes kind of widen a little bit. He's like, "Oh, really? So, what might I be able to do for someone from the Dragon's Breath?"
Well, here's the thing. We got some. I mean, you know how the Eldrin are.
You got a breath mint?
As this happens, you come up to. You notice that Phaeton has kind of come up behind you.
Shit. I sort of just give him a. I turn back, look at him, give him a quick wink.
Yeah, one of those kind of knowing looks of.
Yeah.
And you see he just nods knowingly.
I look back at the human and it's just like, look, they're good at some things, they're not good at some other things. And pretty much, they're trying to. I make up this travel route, this obscure, what would seem like a highly impractical and roundabout way of making this travel route. I finally stopped. It's like, look, been hearing some word about some pirates out there. Can you give me a heads up on this impossible travel route that we're planning on taking? Maybe I can talk.
And he sits there and he kind of ponders it for a little bit, and then he just kind of motions for you to follow him and walks away without waiting for you. And you go probably about 15 feet away. You notice he has a desk that is just littered with papers and just random objects and quills and inkwells. I mean, it's just covered. And so he comes over there. You notice he picks up a few things here and there, and finally he just slams a hand down the table and pushes it across the table. And you notice that underneath this massive pile of everything is sea charts. And so he sits there and he's like, so you're going to have to tell me exactly where were you planning on taking this travel route, because I'm looking, and from what you're describing, it doesn't seem like it's the greatest travel route. Like, you go here, and he starts showing on the map the route that you've described, and you've actually gone around a couple of islands two or three times, and it's just really weird. He's like, so exactly why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then he starts going, you definitely want to avoid, this area over here, and he shows an area kind of in the middle where there's an absence of islands. He's like, because that's where a lot of those attacks happen. Because you can see they're so far away from the ports that there's very low chance of someone actually getting there and actually protecting the people. So you want to avoid that area there. And he shows you probably about 3 or 4 other areas. All of them have that kind of similar characteristic where large dock towns and things like that aren't really near them.
Okay.
Is that kind of what you were looking for?
Was it Phantom? You're with me?
Yes.
Okay. Just make sure. I was like, see, I told you if we go through these areas that, it's a lot more dangerous.
That would appear so.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a moment to try to memorize that map.
Go ahead and just make a straight-up intelligence check to see how quickly you'll just kind of commit it to memory. If you want, you can use history. Figured I should probably get you guys rolling since there's been very little rolling thus far. So
We got a 19.
So McKellen, you've kind of committed it to memory as well as you think you can.
Yeah.
I got myself a nice little 17 here.
Okay, so you both are fairly confident that you've got a rough idea of it. Obviously, without copying it down onto another set of charts, you can't be 100% certain. But if someone was to put charts in front of you, you could go avoid that, avoid that, avoid that. So is there anything else you guys want to do before you kind of get going?
No, I'm just making my way down the harbor towards, I guess, the tavern.
All right. So, Elaine, as you're kind of wandering around, you find someone shortly after they have completed a task, and you kind of give them, the sign, and say, "Hey, try and find out what's going on." And so it's actually a fairly young girl that is the first one you can actually get their attention. So she kind of, you know, motions for you to go to one of the side alleys where there's a little bit more privacy. And as you get there, she's like, "So, what is it you're trying to figure out, love?"
Someone mind telling me what we're supposed to be doing? I forgot.
I'm trying to figure out where pirates are.
Okay. Then that's what I ask her, if she's heard anything recently about any pirates in the area around here.
She goes, "Oh, the eel nasty pirates. Yeah, they keep killing people. I had a friend of mine. She stowed away on a ship trying to get to a wee better town. She never made it back. The whole ship was razed to the ground. It's so bad around here. It really is. It's getting to be, you can't even get a dishonest day's work out of it."
How long ago had she disappeared?
Oh, that was probably a good 2 months ago. It's been a wee bit. Most people, most of us, and she kind of makes gestures to you and her. Most of us know not to get on ships anymore. It's just too dangerous. It's much safer to travel by land right now.
Do you know anyone who might know more?
Actually, now that you mention it, I heard there might be a few unsavory types over at the tavern right now. Every so often we get a ship that comes in, and it's just a longboat, not a full ship. Comes in with some ugly looking men. When they go in, they go to the tavern, they create a bit of a ruckus every single time, and then they leave. A few people have thought enough to try and stop them, thinking that they might be part of these pirates that are plaguing the land. We don't tend to hear from those that attack them, though.
Alright, I appreciate the information.
Alright, well, watch yourself. The clubs around here are not kind to your kind.
Oh, I know that far too well.
Alright, and then she kind of wanders off.
So I'm gonna head to the tavern.
Alright, so Avok is actually the first person to enter the tavern. As you get there, you arrive very much in an area you expect to arrive in. It's loud, it's boisterous. You guys have gotten there around midday to late day, late afternoon. So the tavern itself is just starting to pick up. You can see that there's rowdy people drinking. You can see that there's food, lots of meat. There's a few people that are, having little tests of strength in one of the corner, or they're like arm wrestling and stuff like that. Like, this feels very natural to you. What would you like to do?
This is so much better. Well, you two can do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm gonna go to the bar and have a little drink and some meat finally. Yes.
So you make it up to the bar, and you can see this massive man behind the bar. And he's not just, like, large. Like, he looks solid muscle. Just everything about him is just huge. His frame is large. His muscles are large. He's got a lot of fat on it, too. And as soon as you sit down, he's like, "Hello there. What would you like?"
Yeah, just give me a pint and some meat. That's all I need.
All right. A man after my own heart. That'll be 2 silver pieces.
Yeah, here you go. And here's an extra for you, my good friend.
And he turns around, and you just see a massive amount of motion for such a simple task. And when he comes back, he kind of slams down a large mug of beer with a pretty nice head on it. You can see that there's a plate of some salted beef in front of you. You notice that there's a big old hunk of bread next to it. And he kind of just says, "If you've got anything else that you need, you just let old One Eye know." And as
Yeah,
you do
sure.
that, you notice that he kind of blinks, and you notice that only one of his eyes actually blinks. The other one doesn't move at all. And you notice that when he looks at people, this his left eye doesn't move, it doesn't focus, it just sits there. The rest of you kind of observe this, and you, at this point, Phaeton and McKellen are able to arrive, and so the rest of you guys are kind of standing near the doorway, kind of taking everything in. What would you like to do?
I've already hopped up on the bar stool next to our barbarian,
Okay. So
and I'm
you followed
staring.
right after him.
Yeah, I'm right after him, and I'm like staring at the guy, and I'm staring at his eye,
And he
and I'm like,
kind of turns to you and he says, "I bet you would like to know what happened to me eye." And he points to the good one.
and I'd shake my, or I nod yes, like,
So, what happened was I was in the forest and I was going hunting for some good food so that I could feed these amazing patrons. And as he says that, the kind of bar just kind of cheers. And you notice that a few of them are starting to listen in. Obviously, he has told this story before. And so he goes, "As I was searching through here, a displacer beast came out of nowhere, and I was sitting there and I pulled my axe." And he kind of points over, and you see this like rusty looking, obviously out of use battle axe just kind of resting against a door. He goes, "And I pulled out my battle axe, and I went there and I looked at him and I said, 'This is the last day you live, beastie.'" And he just goes into this well-rehearsed, amazing tale where he sits there and he fights this displacer beast, and at one point it's in 7 different places at once, and then it has 14 tentacles that are all coming at him trying to kill him, and he chops them all off, all but one that takes his eye, and it just keeps getting better and better. Like, this is a well-rehearsed story. While this is happening, and you can see the rest of the bar is filling in details as he says it. Obviously, he has told this story multiple times, and each time it gets better. Like every so often, it's like, "Oh, last time it was only 6 displacements. Now it's 7. Oh." So while this is happening, Phaeton, Fade, and McKellen, you're kind of watching this. You kind of hear a noise behind you as the door opens and closes, and you notice that Elaine has just entered the tavern.
Hello. Hey, Eldrin just acknowledged her.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like awestruck right now.
So what do the rest of you guys want to do while Punchinello is regaled with tales of displacer dismemberment?
Can I do like a investigation or something just to kind of maybe
Scan the room?
Yeah, I want to see who's here.
All right. Yeah, go for it. Go ahead and roll investigation.
15.
All right. So as you kind of scan the room, you notice a few different things. A lot of the people here seem to know each other fairly well. Like, they're joking and they're like hitting each other, and other things like that. But you notice that towards the end of the bar, in kind of a corner, there's a group of about 4 or 5 people. It's kind of hard to see from where you are, that are just kind of sitting there. You notice that their garb is slightly different. They're wearing dark cloaks, and are kind of keeping to themselves. Anytime anyone comes near them, you notice that most people give them a fairly wide berth. There hasn't really been anyone that's gone too close to them. Other than that, the rest of the tavern just kind of seems very much like you would expect a tavern. Obviously, the inns and taverns that you've been to in the lower city and the upper city are vastly different from this. But from what you have heard, you don't think that this is entirely beyond uh, out of character for a tavern like this.
Okay. I'd like to walk past, make a roundabout, like loop or lap of the tavern, and try to get up close as I walk by those hooded figures, see if I can glean anything or overhear something as I walk past.
Right, go ahead and roll me a perception check. Because of how loud it is in here, you'll roll that with disadvantage.
Oh, I probably didn't need it. Total of 8.
8. So as you walk by, it's so loud with this story being told and people cheering and jeering that you can't really hear anything while still maintaining enough distance to make it obvious that you're trying to listen into that conversation.
Okay, well then I head up to the bar and my little halfling friend who's having a good old time.
Yeah, they're like people at the bar. Like they've apparently gotten to the best part of this story. Now they're not only is the displacer beast there, wreaking havoc, but apparently 2 beautiful women wandered into the area, and he's now protecting them from this evil displacer beast. And a chimera showed up somehow. So
Nice.
he's currently describing the 2 women and some of their more prominent assets.
Interesting.
Is there an empty table at all in the bar, or is it completely full?
There isn't really an empty table in the room right now. You can see a few that only have like maybe 1 or 2 people at them, but there isn't a single empty table in this tavern currently.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna clap the half elf on the back. Come on, lunch is on me this time, and go find a table that has a single person sitting at it.
Mm-hmm.
Just join them, and I can keep an eye on the shady folk in the back.
Makes sense.
I will join you.
Okay.
I'm gonna, as I see you coming, I'm gonna shake my head and try to wave you off.
And I see that, and I turn, and I head for a different area.
Okay. So as you sit down, you actually sit down with this fairly kind of inept-looking gentleman. He's a human, but you can see he has a very, very little muscle mass. You can see that he's putting on a rather large show of trying to kind of be entertained with this story, when in all actuality he keeps glancing over at this one of the serving women that keeps wandering through. And every time she gets close, he kind of stands up a little bit taller and goes, "Ah ha ha! I did that exact same thing!"
Oh crap!
And as you guys sit down, he kind of looks at you, and he notices you specifically, McKellen, being well built. I mean, you're an archer, you're a sailor. You've done quite a bit. You're fairly muscular, and he just kind of looks at you, and he looks at himself, and he looks at you, and he looks at himself, and you notice he just kind of hangs his head and wanders over to another table.
Well, that saves me that trouble. Okay, awesome.
Wow.
So, the rest of you, anything else that you want to do? Avok, you are almost as entertained as Punchinello is right now with his story, because it's getting good. If nothing else, this barkeep knows how to tell a really good story. And the food you have in front of you is not bad. It ain't good, by any measure of any standard. It's not, exquisite cuisine, but it's decent. It's edible. And the show that you're getting right now more than makes up for any inadequacies in the food. Now he's talking
Robert.
about taking one of the tentacles from the displacer beast and beating the chimera, one of the chimera heads with it. The other one he ripped off with his bare hands and took a giant bite out of it. And
How'd you do it? Dragon breath.
what?
I yell out, how'd you handle the dragon breath?
And he goes, "That is a fantastic question." So there I was, with this evil chimera just glaring at me, and I could see its lungs filling with air, and so I thought my only course of action was to hit him right in the gut, and he lost all breath, and that's when I ripped the head off, and he just keeps going on and on and on. He almost seems to the point that he's told this story enough and has been jeered enough that he's expecting people to ask him and try and poke holes in his story, and he loves it every time somebody does it. Like, he really is enjoying telling this story that has gone from slightly unbelievable to completely outside the realm of possibility.
Oh. Good story.
And he still hasn't gotten to how he lost his eye yet. Like, he still at this point has two good eyes. And the whole crowd is just kind of sitting there waiting for the point where he goes, and that's how I lost my eye. And it hasn't come yet. Mostly because there's enough new people in the room that they keep feeding him with more questions that keep expanding the tale. You can tell that there's a few patrons in the bar that are just going, this is impressive. It normally doesn't go on this long. What about the rest of you guys? You've got McKellen and Elaine. Elaine, you, from the conversation that you had, as soon as you got in, you immediately recognized the gentleman in the dark cloaks as the people that the rogue you talked to before noticed and had described to you. So you know that those are the guys that people give a wide berth, and people that mess with them tend to end up missing forever.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell McKellen exactly, what I'd heard from that rogue, and kind of point out the guys in the tavern.
Okay.
So
Julian, are they laughing along with the story at all?
they seem to be kind of ignoring the story. They're not. The thing that made it so easy for you to pick them out is the fact that the room itself has kind of an energy and a flow, almost like a current to it. They are completely out of this current. And that was one of the reasons you were able to spot them. Dark cloaks really don't mean that much, other than, obviously either they're cold or they work at night a lot and want something dark. But the fact that they don't have the same kind of energy that the rest of the tavern has makes them stick out kind of like a sore thumb. And that's what it was that drew your attention to them.
Okay. After Elaine fills me in, as soon as there's even this tiniest break from the story, when he goes to take a breath or something,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say, and breathe from the diaphragm and just say as loudly as possible in their direction, "What? Are you gentlemen not enjoying the story? You don't believe it?"
Go ahead and roll. I'll let you choose persuasion or intimidation.
I'm screwed either way, so.
Or performance, if you would prefer.
No, that doesn't help. 10 on. We'll go with. We'll go with intimidation because I'm purposely trying to bring attention to them.
Okay. So you sit there and you kind of yell and you due to how loud the crowd is and everything like that, your yell kind of gets lost in the crowd. But you notice one of the men over there kind of just very slowly and very slyly kind of looks out of the corner of their eye at you, just kind of sneers for a little bit, and turns back, kind of giving you the universal sign of fuck off.
Gotcha. I give a wink.
At that point, he'd already turned around, so.
Damn it.
You wink to the back of his head. The back of his head, though, was very much charmed.
I'm sure it was.
Anyone else? Punchinello and Avok, you guys have gotten to the part of the story where he's finally taken a wound to his eye. It's still working at this point. But the Chimera got a lucky sneeze in and kind of, now he's squinting as he tells this story, which is really weird because the way that the false eye has kind of been put in there, the lid doesn't close. So he's squinting, but his eye is completely open, and it just looks weird.
I'm just staring in amazement this whole time.
You're just
Just
thrilled.
I'm like, tell me more.
So as all this is happening, it's starting to get a little bit later. The story has been going on for about an hour at this point. Like, you guys are really impressed, if nothing else, than the fact that he's been able to keep the story going for this long. You notice, McKellen and Elaine notice that the group of people that they've kind of been keeping an eye on has started to get up, and wherever they move, they don't have to push past anyone. People just get out of their way. And so they're starting to leave and head towards the door now.
I'm gonna, if I can, try to get to the group up at the bar.
Mm-hmm. I'll have you roll to get there quick enough that you can get there before they get out the door. I'm going to have you do an acrobatics check or athletics if you
20.
just push through people.
Nat 20.
Oh, you are very, very nimble. You kind of dance around a few people. You go a couple, hurrah! You had one girl that was in your way that you just kind of, placed your hand on the small of her back and just did a little like dance spin with her, and then, made your way in. So you've made it up to Punchello and Avok, who are just enwrapped with this completely implausible story.
Especially to Avok. I think we got some pirates leaving.
Oh, come on. Oh, they can't leave. This story's getting too good. Hey, you lot! Get the fuck back in here! Listen to the rest of this good story.
Go ahead and roll intimidation for me. You get no choice. That was intimidation.
I know. 22.
Oh, wow. So when that happens, you notice that the group itself kind of looks at you disgusted. And the guy in the center just kind of stops, brings his eyes up, turns him over to you, and goes, "What did you say to me?" And you can see kind of fury in him.
What I'm saying is, it's pretty damn rude to leave in the middle of a good damn story.
You notice now the story has stopped, and everyone in the tavern has become deathly silent. They've actually started moving away from being in between yourself and this group. And they turn to you, and I've got to do this. No, that's not what I want. I want this. Sorry, give me 2 seconds here. As this, excuse me, as this is happening, they just kind of turn to you and give this. That's what I want. Good, that's exactly what I want. He turns to you and he motions for two of his buddies to kind of head out, and he looks at you and he goes, "Perhaps you don't know who you are talking to." And he gets up real close, and you can notice that they've actually cleared an area now where tables have actually moved to stay out of this conflict. And he's right in your face now.
What race is he?
He is human.
Oh.
Don't know who I'm talking to. As far as I'm concerned, you're just a rude chump.
And he leans in really, really close and lowers his voice to just barely above a whisper. And he turns to you and he says, "The last person who said something like that to me was never sane again, peasant. I recommend you apologize.
That's because I'm still banging your mother.
And as you say that, he turns, and in one swift motion, actually brings out. And I have to get my book now. Hold, please. See, a smart DM would actually have this all kind of, set aside to make it easier. But I'm not a smart DM. There we go. So he actually pulls out this short sword and takes a jab at you.
Okay.
And I rolled like I normally do. Yeah, this is the one that I want. Yes, so that's a 13 to hit.
Nope.
All right, so he takes a swing at you and misses rather epically. So I would like everyone to roll for initiative for me.
All right.
Oh, damn it.
As he and his friend prepare themselves for a fight.
Okay.
Oh, it helps if I actually do this correctly. All right, we're going to start with Elaine. What'd you get?
11.
All right. Avok.
9.
Pancinello?
3.
You guys are doing
Wow.
awesome. Phaeton. What was it?
6.
Oh, 6.
Oh my.
Fade.
I got a 10.
And McKellen.
5.
Oh my god!
So this may be over a lot faster than I initially anticipated.
Cody, why'd you give us all your dice?
Oh, man.
Oh, no. It's not going to be over that quickly because I'm the one that's rolling. All right. Surprisingly enough, Elaine, you are the first one up. The room itself is kind of shifted so that there's a wide berth around these people. You, however, are still kind of behind a few people, so you can't completely see what's going on super clearly. But you're within there's 2 or 3 people in front of you before you would get to the opening around these guys. What would you like to do?
Man. I'm just gonna kind of get up and kind of try and push through these people and at least just kind of see what's going on first.
As you kind of push through them, you can see that the leader of this group has pulled out a short sword and took a stab at McKellen, which McKellen kind of leaned back and just barely missed grazing him. And his partner there has another short sword pulled and is ready to fight with him, but nothing has happened beyond that first attack yet. I believe this is first time playing, right?
Yes.
So, 5th edition, you have 2 things basically you can do during a turn. You have a movement, which is measured in feet, which you have on your character sheet, and you have an action. An action is, an attack, casting a spell, anything like that. So, you've used a little bit of your move, say about half of your move to get through those people. The 2 guys are within about 10 to 15 feet of you. So what would you like to do?
Is it possible for me to hold my action?
Yes, you can. You can do what's called readying an action. Basically, the way it works is you say, if this happens, then I do this. So what would you like to ready?
Oh,
God damn it, cat.
let's see. Hold on.
Cats.
I do have a short bow on me. Suppose I'd like to, if either of them try to attack again, just kind of try and take a shot with my short bow.
Okay, that works perfectly. So next up is going to be Fade. Fade, you were kind of around the outside of the room, right? You
Yeah.
hadn't really. So you.
Oh,
have
actually, no. I walked up to the bar.
Oh yeah, you walked up to the bar. Okay, so you're within about 5 to 10 feet of these guys, and there's not really anyone between you and them right now.
That's fine. I would like to run up on in between them, I guess.
Okay.
Reach out with both my hands like I'm going to hit them,
Mhm.
and cast a spell called Inflict Wounds,
That sounds fun.
which, because of my fun everything, I get to make one ranged or melee spell attack, which will be a 22 to hit,
Remarkably enough, that's a hit.
and I get to roll 3d10, and that affects 2 people.
Really?
Yes, 6, 7, and 7. So for 22 damage to 2 of them. Haha.
6, 7, and 7 would be 20.
That's what I meant. Math is hard.
All right, so they both take 20 damage. Is what I'm hearing correct?
Yes.
Okay.
2 targets.
So you walk up and very quickly say a prayer to your deity, and then your hands start to glow with this dark energy. And as you walk up to them, you kind of go, perhaps this is a misunderstanding. You just grab onto their shoulders, each one of them, and you can see the energy from your hand just starts to course through them really, really intensely. And you watch the one that's not the leader just kind of sit there and jerk a little bit, and then you notice that his body kind of goes limp as he hits the floor. And the I need to do this. The leader there, as you grab onto him, you hear him just kind of scream out in pain and kind of bat your hand away, and you can see where you touched him. The flesh itself has actually started to almost rot in the area that you actually touched him.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do?
No, I think then I'll just pull out my shield and get ready to get hit.
All right. Havok, what is your dexterity modifier?
My dex mod is +2.
+2, okay. Choose even or odd.
Even.
You are up next.
Okay. Okay, so I guess
You got a big dude next to you because he came up to try and take a swing at. Oh, he actually tried stabbing. Oh no, he stabbed McKellen, but he's basically has his back to you right now.
Okay, I think I'm still holding my mug of whatever's in it.
Yep.
I'm just gonna take that and smash it in the back of his head.
Okay, that'll be an improvised weapon. So you use your strength mod. Since you're not proficient in improvised weapon, it'll just be your strength mod plus a d20 roll for the attack roll.
Okay. Oh my god, no.
And what'd you do? Oh, so you sit there and you take the mug and you go to just swing it and you miss completely and end up the mug itself kind of slips from your grip and just kind of clatters across the floor and just and you regret a little bit because there was still some ale in there that is now worthless because it's on the floor that's all dirty and disgusting. So, next up is actually the leader, who is going to.
Get shot.
That's exactly what he's going to do, is to get shot. No, he actually turns to Fade, who has just hit him pretty heavily.
I touched him. I didn't hit him.
Okay, you hurt him. And so he takes his short sword, and with blinding speed, he actually takes two stabs at you.
Okay.
One of them is a natural 1, because I can't be trusted to roll my own dice. But the second one is a 22. I'm going to assume that hits.
Definitely hits.
All right. That is 7 piercing damage. And
Oh my. I don't like it.
And then after he hits you, you notice he kind of weaves out and starts running for the door, and actually is able to make it almost all the way to the door before. Who is next? That is Phaeton.
All right. Is only the one guy left?
Currently, but you know he had 2 friends that he kind of sent outside that he may be attempting to get to. Right now, he's just running for the door. Or technically, he's in the doorway right now. He didn't have enough time to say anything on his turn.
All right. I would not be in range to do anything that's going to stop him directly.
He only got about 30 feet away.
I'm basically going with the idea that he's got his back to me currently.
Yes,
right?
he does currently have his back to you.
But, well, in that case, I only have one thing that I can do that's going to have any kind of impact on him. And I hold out my hand, and a nice little small ball of flame appears, and I throw it in his general direction.
All right, make an attack roll.
And I got myself a 22.
You actually rolled too high to hit him. So, yeah, go ahead and roll damage.
All right. And I got myself a 10.
All right. So, for those of you that have not watched Critical Role before, this is not Critical Role, by the way, but we're all massive fans of it. One of the things that Matt Mercer does that I have stolen from him is if you defeat, you land the killing blow on a tough enemy, I will turn to you as much as I can on the internets and say, how do you want to do this? And you will describe how you want to land this killing blow. So, Phaeton, how do you want to do this?
Oh, well, as I said, I had this fiery ball appear in my hand, and I just do an overhand throw like it's a fastball special, and it goes flying through and hits him smack in the middle of his, between his shoulder blades.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you sit there, and again, the other than the fact of the noise from the combat that's happening, and then the mug that's just clattering across the floor, the room itself is eerily silent. And you sit there and you start. There's verbal components to Firebolt, right? I believe so. We're going to pretend there are, because it makes the story sound cool. So you sit there and you start speaking the elven words of power that will kind of coalesce the heat in the room into this concentrated, bolt of fire. Then you sit there and kind of wind up and throw it, and it streaks through the air directly at him. As it impacts his back, you hear this ear-shattering, painful scream, and you notice that the fire itself kind of dances across his back and down his legs and things like that. And there's this massive scorch mark on his back now, and you notice he drops to his knees and then just hits the ground, no longer moving. As the smoke settles from Phaeton throwing fire, you notice that you kind of almost expected the crowd to maybe cheer or congratulate you or something, but everyone in there, the silence is almost sickening with just how quiet it is. And the barkeep who'd been telling that great story, you can notice that his complexion has gotten a few shades paler, and he kind of turns to you guys. He's like, "You get out of here now!" And that is where we are going to end it for tonight.
All right.
So, for those of you that were watching and commenting, thank you very much. Thanks to Critters D&D for hosting us for part of the stream tonight. We really appreciate it. If you guys would like to see this again, this is going to be a monthly campaign because of all the other junk that I do. So the next time you will see all of these people together will be at the end of the last Tuesday of next month. If there are any changes to that due to people not being able to make it or whatever, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Trainer Jody. I make any announcements at all there. Really quickly before we go, if people want to stalk you on the interwebs and you don't mind them stalking you, where would people be able to find you? We will start with McKellen first.
Pretty much you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Malamens. Pretty much it's MALAMENZ. Yeah. That's all I really use. That's the closest. Social media, that's all I really use is Twitter. So.
Awesome. Fade, if you want people to stalk you. Which is a weird phrase to say, to be 100% honest.
Yeah. No. You can visit me in person by chance in the world.
Awesome. Phaeton, I'm not sure if you have social media things that you use commonly. Are you muted? We can't hear you at all. Do you have a Twitter handle that you want people to know?
Oh, who, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay. Yes.
No.
Twitter is at ZaphodM2. It's ZAPHODM2. And go ahead and follow me if you want.
Awesome. The lovely Punchinello.
I am Cannon Face on Twitch right here, and I'll say hi in the chat here. Hi. And my Twitter, if you want to stalk me, is Petipew.
Cool.
At Petipew.
Avak?
If you guys want to bother stalking me, you can hit me up on Twitter, I guess, at Gooman01, at Gooman01, GOOMAN01.
And then finally, the illustrious Elaine.
Well, you can. I occasionally stream here on Twitch. I will also say hey in the chat. Yep. I am trying to stream more on Twitch, and then you can also find me on Twitter at Calendar142. And that's it.
All
Well,
right.
no, I got YouTube as well. It's the same as Twitter.
Cool.
No, it's not. That's a lie.
And
That's a lie.
obviously, again, I'm Trainer Jody. I stream every Tuesday, normally around the same time, around 8-ish. So yeah, feel free to follow me here on Twitch. I'm also on Twitter. I also have a YouTube channel. If you missed any of this and you would like to see the whole story, I will be uploading this to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TrainerJody. Trainer Jody is kind of my thing, mostly because I haven't found anywhere that it's actually been taken. So we're going to keep it. And we just lost somebody. I think it was Joe.
Joe.
So anyway, obviously Google Plus Hangouts works super, super well, as does OBS. So yes, please, so if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, please subscribe. It helps me to do stuff. And yeah, that's all for me today. And I will see you guys tomorrow for some random vlogging. All right. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.